Good evening, West Orange, and welcome to the June 13th, 2017 council meeting. This is the 11th meeting of the year. Our next meeting will be June 27th, and while I usually ignore the legal protocol and defer to the municipal clerk for the next portion of the meeting, I'm going to do that tonight. Madam Clerk.
This is to inform the general public that this meeting is being held in compliance with Section 5 of the Open Public Meetings Act, Chapter 231, Public Law 1975. The annual notice was emailed to the Star Ledger and filed in the Township Clerk's office on November 28, 2016, and published in the West Orange Chronicle on December 8, 2016. Councilwoman Castellino?
Present.
Councilman Guarino?
Present.
Councilwoman McCartney?
Present.
Council President Krokoviac.
Present. At the top of a spare agenda for the conference agenda is Mr. Sayers, our business administrator, giving us an update on downtown redevelopment. Please.
Downtown redevelopment, if anyone has been going by there.
If I could just, before we start, and I apologize, because of the heat, we're going to have to run the air conditioning quite a lot, which reduces the ability of folks to hear. So I encourage everyone to move forward so you can hear better, and I also encourage everyone up here on the dais to speak closely into the mic so that it will help people hear. So I'm sorry, I should have said that before I interrupted Mr. Sayers. Please,
Okay.
Please continue.
Redevelopment's going, it's on fire, if I can say it. I can't say it any better than that. I was down there again today. Studs are going up inside the building. The upper levels of the battery factory are being laid out. The R over R is being completed. As I said last week, they are putting in the sewer systems now. They're running piping, so it's moving along very, very well. Very well.
I won't ask my normal question.
You got a ways to go for that one.
But thank you, Council President.
But it is moving very quickly.
So still on track to perhaps start?
They're still telling me possibly August or September, but I mean, again, I'm not a contractor. I haven't been in that business for a long time, but it doesn't seem as though that it could be possible. I don't want to say it's not, but it could be. I mean, they're really moving with the R over R. I was down there again today. They were putting all the piping in the ground and everything else. So.
They certainly could be leasing by then.
Yeah, they may be leasing by then. They could
Not
be.
moved in, but leasing.
Yeah, they could be doing that.
Will they inform us
Huh?
when they start leasing
Oh, yes.
them out?
Oh, yeah. I talk to them basically once a week, at least the manager on site.
I'm sorry, Council President.
No.
May I ask a question? I'm sorry. This is one question, Jack. The front of the building, in the ROR, it looks kind of really close to the street. Is there going to be any extension or widening of the sidewalk there, or that's what we see?
There is going to be sidewalk there once the fencing comes down.
Right.
So the R over R, the lower part of the R over R is going to be commercial. So you're going to be able to
Right.
walk into the commercial right off the sidewalk.
Right. But it seems like when you drive down, it looks like it's very narrow. It's going to be like an...
I don't think they're widening it, but I can double check on that for you.
Okay.
I'll
Just want to
definitely-
make sure. It's like, it just looks like, they're right on top of Main Street. But
Yeah,
then
well,
again,
they're still
it could
building
be...
and they have scaffolding up.
Yeah.
Once
Right.
you take the scaffolding down
No.
and you put the grass in, you'll see the difference.
No, that's fine.
Okay.
This was a question that I was,
Sure.
as I was driving by the other day, I just looked at it and it's like,
Okay.
thank you.
Councilwoman.
Thank you.
So when they open the retail, will the parking deck be completed as well at the same time?
I'm thinking that they're going to have the parking. I think the parking deck's almost completed, actually.
Okay.
And it's going to have to be because that's where everybody's going to park.
Yeah, have to have that for parking, won't be allowed
Yeah.
open.
I mean, it's almost completed now, the deck.
And I can't think of the street, that's where the corner is after...
Charles?
Yes, Charles. Now, are they going to be made one-way streets, or they'll still go both ways?
My understanding is they're still going both ways.
Okay, National Avenue, will that...
Yeah, they're all
Okay.
going the same way. There's no,
So there's
as far
no-
as I know, there's nothing in the plan that shows one-way streets.
Okay, I didn't know if that was, anticipated future traffic or not. Okay, that's all I have.
So when you talk about infrastructure, as I recall from some of the planning board hearings, there's going to be a stoplight that's going to be installed at Main and Lakeside. Is that part of the infrastructure that we're talking about?
I wasn't aware of that,
I'm not aware
to
of
be
that
honest
right
with you,
there.
but I don't,
Oh,
I'm
yeah.
not sure.
I think we looked at that.
I'm not sure that that is part of the plan,
don't-
but I'll check. I can double check that for you.
Well, I just have a distinct memory of wondering why we would put a light at Charles in Maine and not put one, I mean, at Lakeside in Maine and not put one at Charles, when that's going to be the closest entry point to Main Street from the garage.
I think
I will double
That's
check
interesting.
that, but I'm not sure that
Yeah.
that
I
light
know it
was
was
left in.
spoken about a long time ago, but
Yeah,
never
I
was.
don't know if that was left in the plan, but
It's
I'll double
not.
check that.
It's a good question.
My
Oh,
recollection is
interesting.
that that's not in the plan because at the, I serve on the Friends of Thomas Edison also, and they have been discussing that as well. Well, and just as you know, the traffic signal at Ashland,
Ashland,
Ashwood,
Ashwood.
you know, that came about after a lot of discussion. And even to the point that Michelle made, that we haven't seen Phase 2 or Phase 3.
Okay.
So it's part of the redevelopment plan, but it hasn't been discussed at the planning board. So, you know, when traffic studies are done at that point, that may be considered then, but it's not currently in the plan.
In the plan, okay.
And I'll go back and look, but I don't recall a light.
Yeah, I probably have the,
And then-
Yeah, I
probably
don't
have
recall a
that.
light. It's come up a few times.
Right.
yes, please.
This isn't directly with the project, but indirectly by the project. Is there still a plan with your pedestrian board to do the chalkings of the
Yes.
footprint from Park to, I'm sorry, from Washington to Park?
Right. If I, Council President, if I
Sure.
can answer the council. What they're doing is, first of all, Mr. Lepore is working on the drawings and everything else for the paint project. You know, nothing permanent, nothing, and he's working with the county engineering department. It also incorporates what we're talking about tonight with the mid-block crosswalk
Yeah.
at Edison. That's all being taken into consideration, but the first part of it is actually going to be from Park Avenue to the Edison Museum. That's the first challenge of the paint and the road diet.
Okay, good. And they'll take in consideration the bus stops,
Absolutely.
obviously, and leave
Right.
leeway
And
there.
Mike Demamiller is, you know, he's been very, from the Pedestrian Safety Board, has been very helpful in us figuring out, you know, what, you know, other towns are doing and things like that.
Good.
That's why that light was being considered at that corner, because of the museum. Because people cross that
Yeah.
street to park in the parking lot. But I'm not so sure that was approved in the final plan.
It wasn't.
I'll double check that, but I'm
Right,
not
if
sure.
Mr. Lepore is here tonight, Council President, we can ask him, because he's been working on that, because I know they want to change the crosswalk more to go right directly into the museum from where it is now. So if Mr. Lepore is here tonight, we can ask him.
Okay. In terms of the other parts of the infrastructure that have to go in, where are we in that schedule in terms of what might be disrupting traffic?
They're finishing up with Lakeside. Actually, they may even be done, because I went by there today, and there were no trucks out there. So I'm not sure if they're done, or if they just are waiting to do something else on Lakeside and Main. And the back part of the R over R, that's where they're putting the sewer systems in there. So for that phase of the project, I don't think there's going to be much more there, other than Lakeside Avenue. And there may be some stuff with, once everything is almost completed, with lighting on Main Street. But other than that, I don't think there's much more infrastructure.
And of course, what we'll be following on from the infrastructure is the $6.3 million in financing
Oh, yeah.
from the town. So where do we stand with that?
They've submitted some bills to us. We're having them reviewed by our engineering department, and to make sure that those bills are legitimate. And once we approve them, then obviously we're going to have to make payments. But they're not, they haven't been fully approved yet. They've been reviewed, but they're not fully approved yet. They're still waiting on some, what was it? They were waiting on some
Clarifications.
invoices and clarifications.
If it goes as expected, would we be issuing that financing this year?
At any given time until they, actually, once we start the process, we're 6 weeks away from being presented on a bills list. So,
Okay.
let me give you an idea of, you know, so if tomorrow we got a statement, then we would go through the process of floating, you know, going ahead, getting the bond anticipation notes out, getting them funded, and then bringing them back to the council on a bills list. Yeah.
Anybody else have questions,
No.
comments?
No. Thank you, Council President.
Next on the agenda is council liaison reports. Anybody ready to go?
Sure.
Yeah, you guys.
Good.
I'm always ready.
She's-
I'm still looking up something I
Please,
want
why
to
don't
talk
you,
about.
go ahead.
Okay.
Councilwoman, please.
Okay.
So I received a letter on behalf of the Chamber. The West Orange Chamber of Commerce was one of the sponsors at the West Orange Street Fair, and it's a thank you letter for the sponsorship. It says that attendance this year was in excess of 6,000 people,
wow.
which is great considering we didn't have the 800-foot slide anyway. There were over 100 vendors that participated this year, and over 50% of the vendors were West Orange related businesses. So I think that's great for our Shop Local campaign. And it was turned out to be a beautiful day. Didn't start out that way. The Classic Car Show, cars did not come out when they were supposed to because of the weather and the rainy skies, but as soon as the skies cleared, all of the cars came out. So it was a beautiful day. Last Wednesday, the Environmental Commission had their monthly meeting, and two things. We had two presentations at that meeting. One was with Nagy Ventures to look at carports. I'd have to say about 10 years now, the Environmental Commission has been looking at solar panels on our municipal buildings, but because they're so old, they're not structurally sound. So we're trying to move in a little bit of a different direction and look at carports behind Town Hall, the police department, library, and the Rent-A-House Senior Citizen Building to reduce our electric bills. So we're waiting to hear more. And we also had a presentation from New Jersey Clean Energy, the program that will help the municipality with any initiatives, green initiatives for any of our municipal buildings. There's a 70% savings if we enroll in this plan. So we have two people that are doing assessments on our buildings to see if and how we qualify. The next event that's coming up is the Friends of Thomas Edison National Historic Park. This is our annual Glenmont Garage. I share this event with Monica Perkowski, who is here. We had a beautiful, this is outdoor in Llewellyn Park at Edison's Glenmont Garage. Proceeds from the event conserve the Edison's electric charging station artifacts. Last year, we were able to preserve
The oil
dispenser.
Right.
This year, we are looking to conserve the Loopster. We have a signature cocktail. We were almost going to change it to the Loopster, but we're sticking with our electric spark. This date is Thursday, July 13th. Everyone is welcome to attend. It's a cocktail reception party from 5 to 7:30 in Llewellyn Park at the Glenmont Garage. The home of Thomas Edison, the Glenmont home, will not be open, but the grounds all around the garage will be there. Members, price for tickets, $30. Non-members are $40, but you can go to Edison, friendsofedison.org, to purchase tickets or to look at membership to get the reduced ticket price. You're welcome to attend. And on Wednesday, we also had, actually last Wednesday, the planning board meeting. Planning board is somewhere. Let me see. Nope. Okay, planning board is in this file. I guess we have to come back about the planning board. There we go. Okay. Crestmont Country Club is installing a bubble, a tennis bubble, to have private tennis lessons
nice.
up there at Crestmont. Anthony Puglisi may talk about the Turtleback Zoo, about the penguin exhibit that's under construction at Turtleback Zoo. It's a courtesy application. The township, as you recall, the council had a resolution about subdividing the or actually selling the property on Ridgeway Avenue. The planning board is looking at that subdivision at 5557 Ridgeway Avenue. And on the corner of the old Mount Fuji building, there is a GBSJ Properties that is looking to create a Goddard School on the corner of Mount Pleasant and Prospect Avenue.
And that was actually approved, right?
Well, not yet. They have a lot of traffic studies they have to look at.
Oh.
Not yet. And we're still working on our master plan, the re-exam of our master plan.
Okay.
A lot going on. I think that's all I have.
Oh, yeah? Councilman?
Thank you, Council President. Just to pick up to where Councilwoman McCartney was talking about, of course, the Great Edison event coming up. The street fair, there were over 6,000 people at our street fair. You know, it started out a little wet, but the sun came out, and it was a great day had by all. And we'd like to thank all the partners that we had between the Chamber of Commerce and the Public Relations Commission who came out and helped us pull it together, and of course, the Downtown Alliance. The Edison Museum, I got the official count from them, had over 3,500 visitors that day. It hasn't matched the one they had 4 years ago where it was 4,200 people, but it's a great day. Also to tell you about Edison, of course, you know, Edison was a designer of the storage battery. At the Edison garage, at the Park Service offices across the street from the museum, there are 4 charging stations that for the next 6 months you can use them to charge your electric cars, and that is sponsored by BMW. West Orange was the first to get them. BMW is rolling this program out across the country to all national parks, and they selected the Edison site because that's where the storage battery was created. And so for the next 6 months, you could go there. The gates are open 24/7. You can go and recharge your car for free, courtesy of BMW. Other things is you'll be seeing things going on with our street diet program from the Pedestrian Safety Advisory Board. We're doing some working plans with the engineering department from both our township, Mr. Lepore, and from the county Department of Engineering. So things are really moving forward with our road diet. If you want to know what a road diet is please go to the township website and go to the Pedestrian Safety Advisory Board and click on the tab that says road diet. And it's a 25-minute presentation, but it'll give you an idea of what municipalities and communities throughout New Jersey are implementing for road diet. Now, every street and every roadway does not always meet the criteria for a road diet, but a number of our streets in West Orange will meet the requirements, so that's why we're working on developing our road diet plan. And if Mr. Lepore is here tonight, maybe he can give some more update on what's going on. And thank you, Council President.
Sounds good. Councilwoman?
Thank you. PR Commission report. We had a meeting last Thursday evening. First off, again, congratulations to Downtown Alliance and the committee for working really hard, especially Director Megan Brill for all the work she did putting together the street fair. I'd like to thank our commissioners for the time they spent all day at the street fair, and the prizes that were given away were a great hit. More importantly, our commissioners are gearing up for weekend of 4th of July. We have festivities starting July 1st with the opening ceremony at 9 a.m. up at West Orange High School of the Vietnam Memorial Wall. There's a replica of the Vietnam Wall, memorial wall that is down in Washington, D.C. I think it's a 3/5 scale, Mr. Sayers. There's flyers here right on the table. We encourage you all to come up. The wall will be there from the 1st to the 4th. It will be getting towed in off 280 the day before on July 31st. We're hoping to hopefully coordinate, folks on the street cheering the wall in and have a little video presentation, gearing up for the excitement. We're the only township in New Jersey that has been awarded this honor and opportunity. So it's very exciting. That starts on July 1st. On July 2nd is our Food Truck Festival. There's information online on the township website of the different food vendors that will be present. Again, it's a Sunday. There will also be kosher food trucks available. So all of our residents are welcome to please come out and enjoy the festivities. Come look at the wall. Go up to the upper campus on West Orange High School. That's where the Food Truck Festival will be held. And then, of course, on July 4th, the last day of the wall, there'll be a closing ceremony. the tradition of the races that used to be held on Colgate Park. Our commission's making a big push to get the word out to the little energetic runners that there are races there. The children that do participate always have a great time. I feel that since we moved the races up to the high school complex, word's not out enough, or just I guess kids like to be on their iPhones now, but we're trying to make a big push to get them out, health and wellness, and get them participating. And for the older adults, we do have sack races. So I participated that in 1 year, never did again. And the balloon toss. It's just a great, fun day in West Orange, and we get a really great crowd. There's tons of entertainment. Again, everything Township website. Also promoting Latin Night, which will be held at the Ospex Saturday night, June 24th, 5 to 9. That's another great event, a lot of fun, great music, food. So we encourage you to come out and enjoy all the opportunities that the Township has to offer you. And with that, that's my PR report. I had also the same evening later on, Friends of the West Orange Public Library. We see Mr. Kuby's here, so he will, the director, and I'm sure he'll be informing the public of all the great programming that will be over the summer for the West Orange Public Library. But I do want to make a push. My colleague here, Council President, who's also on the committee with me, we encourage you to, if you're not a friend, to please sign up. It's a great organization to be a part of. It benefits the library immensely. The details, you could get a pamphlet right at the public library to join, and you could also go online as well. And we even have a Facebook app for those of you who are tech savvy. So we encourage you to enjoy that. And my last committee, West Orange Scholarship Fund, they had a great event last Thursday night, handing out over $50,000 worth of scholarships to West Orange students. This year, the Nikhil Balani Foundation did a big push to match awards that were given that folks donated. And again, the scholarship program has an event this Thursday night, June 15th, at the Montclair Country Club for $50. They're honoring Mary Jo Cody for her 30 years of service, between her dedication to teaching, our advocacy of mental health issues here in New Jersey. So that's another nice event, awarding scholarships. Another scholarship tonight, I just want to also put a shout out. Tonight is the Michael McCormick Scholarship Dinner, where they raised $36,000 to give to 23 students for their college education. These are great foundations. You can find them online to support. I admire the Bellani family and the McCormick family. They're both families who had experienced tragedy with both their children in car accidents, and they just been dedicated to honor both their children by raising funds to give back to the students of our township. So kudos to them. And Council President, I'll turn it over to you now.
Sounds good. Thank you. Just a couple of follow-ups to Councilwoman Castellino's announcements. The Vietnam Traveling Memorial needs volunteers who help police the site, sort of set the solemn tone and show people where to go and show people where not to go. You can actually sign up to volunteer from the town website. So if you go to the homepage of the town website, westorange.org, you follow the clicks, you can actually just volunteer online. There's quite a few people who've already signed up, so if you're looking to do that, I would suggest doing it sooner rather than later. Also follow up on the Friends of the West Orange Public Library. You can become a member by going online to the library's website, WOPL, which is acronym for West Orange Public Library.org. Up in the upper right-hand corner, there's a little box that says Friends. If you click on that, you can become members, you can donate money right there online, and we really need volunteers to help with some of the fundraising and some of the other programs. We have monthly meetings, and would love for you to join us. This past Sunday was also a very successful Men Who Cook event sponsored by the West Orange African Heritage Organization, raises money for scholarships for the high school students. And for the second year in a row, my dish was eaten. I had none left over, and nobody complained of food poisoning.
Good job.
Mr. Kaiser was also there, and I'll let him talk about his dish if he'd like. But we really appreciate everybody who helped. It's a once-a-year event. It was really nice. And with that, I think we're done. Unless there's anybody else come up with
You said it
anything.
was
No, sorry, couldn't make
150,000,
that.
right? That was what we gave out this year.
Yeah.
It was 150,000.
150,000.
So I think we're to 7 o'clock.
Yes.
So we can now start our regular meeting. Madam Clerk, please.
This is to inform the general public that this meeting is being held in compliance with Section 5 of the Open Public Meetings Act, Chapter 231, Public Law 1975. The annual notice was emailed to the Star Ledger and filed in the Township Clerk's office on November 28, 2016, and published in the West Orange Chronicle on December 8, 2016. Councilwoman Castellino?
Present.
Councilman Guarino?
Present.
Councilwoman McCartney?
Present.
Council President Kukoviac?
Present.
Will everyone please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance?
I pledge allegiance.
The council is now in their public meeting.
Before we get started, I just want to note that it's very warm outside, as everybody knows, so we're running the air conditioning. It's kind of loud, so if you're having trouble hearing, please move closer to the dais, and I just encourage everybody up here to speak as closely and firmly into the microphone as possible, and also want to encourage anyone who comes up to speak a public comment to do that as well. Councilman Cirillo has texted and apologized that he's not here. He says he's been delayed. He's been delayed by some work obligations, and he should be here shortly. Public comment is next on the agenda. If anyone would like to speak,
all lined up.
please raise your hand. When I call on you in order, please come up to the council, to the lectern, and please state your name and your address. You'll have 5 minutes, and we'll go with that. So I can see Mr. Kuby. Mr. Kuby has a war wound, so I'm going to let him go first. Is there anyone else who wants to speak? Ms. Morelli, you can be next.
He is a vet.
Yes, please come on down. Yes, and you too. Mr. Kuby, please.
David Kuby, West Orange Public Library Director. And with all the hot weather, just a reminder that the West Orange Public Library is an official cooling center. So that's to remind people of that. And I want to thank the municipality and the council, the mayor, everyone from Department of Public Works, Mr. Lepore for replacing a 40-ton HVAC unit, which thanks to that is one of the many reasons why the West Orange Public Library is one of the coolest places in town. And one of the other reasons why we're one of the coolest places in town is our upcoming summer reading program, which you can start signing up for already. It officially kicks off on June 26th is our Children's Family Kickoff. We have a number, it goes from June 26th through August 20th. So you can sign up now through that time period. So it's 7 weeks, and you can win prizes as well for the reading, but it's also one of the greatest prizes is it keeps education for the young people sharp throughout the summer. And we have weekly programs throughout the summer. Mondays at 3 p.m. will be Reading Buddies. That's teens read with children. Toddler Story Time, ages 2 to 3.5. That's Tuesdays at 10:30. The Reading Buddies is Monday at 3. Preschool Story Time, ages 3.5 to 5. That's Tuesdays at 11:30 a.m. Babies Story Time, infant to age 2, Thursdays at 10:30 a.m. Poolside Story Time at the Jenny Dunkel Pool. Did I say that right? Mm-hmm. Thursdays at 2:30. We now have bilingual story time for all ages. Fridays at 11 a.m., that's in Spanish. And story time Saturdays at 11 a.m., volunteers read stories to kids in the children's room. The program's coming up in June. The very first summer reading program that we have is actually before the kickoff, and it's a children's program for grades pre-K through 5th grade. The Land Before Time, that's Thursday, June 22nd at 4:30 p.m. Field Station Dinosaur Visits with the Dinosaur Troubadour and the Mighty T-Rex. Meet an unbelievably lifelike, roaring, breathing 15-foot juvenile T-Rex. An interactive Paleozoic adventure. Our children's kickoff event is on June 26th from 6:30 to 8:30 p.m. That is on a Monday. Normally the library stays open till 9 p.m., but we will be closing early on that day at 5:30 in order to prepare for that. And that is Build a Better World with your family and Dance the Night Away, DJ, games, and a Lego challenge led by Bricks for Kids. And then the teen kickoff dance party is on Wednesday, June 28th, 6:30 to 8:30 p.m. Build a better world with your friends and dance the night away with a DJ. Snacks provided by Whole Foods, grades 6 through 12. We will have many events throughout the summer, and you can go to the West Orange Public Library website, www.wopl.org, and go to the calendar of events, as well as to the library newsletter to see more details. Or you can call the library and go to the children's department by dialing 973-736-0198. I also want to thank the sponsors. We have sponsors who've helped us out this year, and that is a very generous donation from the Ira A. Rochelle MD Family Foundation made it primarily possible for us to have events throughout the summer. Whole Foods, The Manor, Hyalon Pavilion, Jordan Barris LLC, Eastside Mags, and the brochure design that you get when you sign up for summer reading was done by Carol Black Lemon. So please join us at the library this summer for summer reading. Thank you.
Sounds great.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Cubey.
Mr. Cubey, do you have one of those for us? Thank you.
But his one and only.
I pass it down.
Is that the only one you have? Oh.
I didn't bring a stack.
Ah.
Sorry. But no, you can
Excuse me, could I get you to sit down?
adults
You have to be recognized and then be brought forward. There's a long line in front of you tonight for some reason. Please.
Yeah.
Ms. Morelli, I was going to bring you up, but you want her to speak in your place? Okay.
Made it.
Thank you. I apologize for being so abrupt, but could you start out with your name, including the spelling, and your address, please, for our minutes?
My name is Julia Jones, and I live at 10 Gaston Street, John Renner House, the senior building. And we're here representing, I'm talking for our tenants, and I have a group with us tonight because we have some things that's over there that we're not getting and we need, and they're saying they don't have the money for us to have these things. Like security, we need 24-hour security, and we only getting from 8 at night to 2 in the morning, and that is not enough security for a building with seniors in it, and people coming in anytime they get ready to. And we also do not have a social worker, and we need a social worker, and we don't have one. And we have one man as a maintenance over there, and we got eight floors over there, and it's a lot of work for him, and they need to hire another man to help him. And we also have halls and doors need painting. Rugs on the floor is bad. And now in the lobby, the main lobby, there's throw rugs that are damaged, and they could trip and fall on them. And they did started some work down in the lower level 3 weeks ago. They got it all knocked out, and nobody's finishing it. It's still open, It's just not nice over there for us. And now also some of the tenants are saying, and I know there's supposed to be a smoke-free building, but it really isn't, because people is smoking in their apartments, and that's dangerous for other people with oxygen, and it should be smoke-free all the way. And it was just said that they have no money. And we have 23 apartments on each floor, and altogether we have 184 apartments in that building, but they have no money. And it's bad over there. It's not good at all. If you want to, I could let you look at the pictures that I took. I'll send my phone around and you can look. Just slide it to your left. Are we okay? Yeah, I'm okay. Slide it to your left. You'll see the conditions that we're living in over there at John Renner House. And I don't think it's fair that the elevators need floors on them. They say it's an old building, but if you have worked on that building shouldn't be looking like that, whether it's old or not.
Ms. Jones, we appreciate you coming to speak to the council and to the administration about this. Typically, we don't allow a conversation to come up from an individual speaker, but I do want to just ask a couple of quick questions. Are you a representative of the board there?
No, she's
I have a group
tenant.
here.
Okay.
Stand up, ladies. Men, everybody from
The reason I asked is I know that there's a board over there that's supposed to represent tenants, and I just wanted to try to identify whether you were if you were coming to speak as a member of the. Okay.
Yes, we have a board. We have our.
And there's also a
And that young man there, he was there the other day. And that's how I know.
Oh, he's
that,
the young man?
Yes.
I know, Ms. Jones, I knew why I liked you for some reason.
I thought it was me, yes. I was about to blush, but I guess I don't have to.
Well, he came over the day before election, and we were speaking, trying to speak, but he told us what we had to do to come over and talk to somebody.
Okay. You also know that there is a management board there that is supposed to be listening to you folks. Have you actually spoken directly to the board?
The tenants tells me that they have been downstairs to management and they leave their complaints, but it don't go no further and nobody hear from nothing and there's nothing being done.
If, Council President, if I may, or you want to wait to the next part when we answer all the questions?
No, let's go ahead and...
Okay, Ms. Jones, thank you. You know, we all spoke in the whole group, and I'm glad you came over to show your frustration, but I also explained to them that, you know, Marzulli is the management, and I was bringing everything that they gave me, I've sent to the management firm that I want these things addressed. But, Ms. Jones, can I ask you, who said they had no money to do it? Did somebody from Marzulli tell you this?
Well, our president...
Ms. Jones, could you speak into the microphone, please? Thank you.
Our president of our association meeting, that's the words he said. He said when they go to Marzulli, he said they don't have the money. And security is very important.
Right, I understand
If
that.
nothing else, we need our security.
Right, and that's important. We spoke about that
Yes,
too that
and
night.
people coming in when they get ready
What
to.
she's saying is to throw a rug so you can
But
trip.
no. What I'm saying is, but we said too that you got to let us know, and the people on the board, like Ms. Morelli and I, sit on the Renner House board. When we know these things, then we can challenge the Marzulli Management Company. Because if we don't know these are going on, then we can't. But you saw when they took care of the room downstairs with the mole. I know they still have to do more with that. But when I was told that was happening, I went to Marzulli and it got taken care of. Now they got to finish it. And I'm glad you're telling. I'm sorry. But this is what, you know, I spoke to them the other week, and because they felt it was my, you know, as a board member to go in, and they have their tenant meetings, and I wanted to know what was going on. And they
And now we
told
know.
me exactly what was going on.
Now we know.
Okay.
But thank you, Mr. Jones.
I don't want to belabor the point tonight because we're not going to solve anything tonight, but I want to make sure that we can get back in touch with you. If you could make sure that Ms. Morelli, do you know Ms. Morelli sitting right behind you? If you could just make sure she has her phone number, okay. Have a phone number so that we can get back in touch with you.
I have her
Okay.
number.
Municipal clerk's
Okay.
job.
Yeah, I have her
That would be the
number.
municipal
No,
clerk's
where's her
job.
phone?
Yes, we need to get your
Oh, her
phone back to you.
Oh, yep, didn't.
Yeah, I just want to I just want to make a suggestion, Council President, if maybe the members of the board can take it back, and that is to periodically meet with the residents, maybe at a minimum on a quarterly basis, even twice a year, to listen to these type of concerns, and on a one-on-one meeting, informal with the residents, you perhaps there's an exchange, there's an understanding as to why certain items are not being done, or if perhaps they're in the hotbed, or they're in the process, or in the plan of them being addressed. So that's my suggestion, and I hope that it's considered.
Well,
We'll follow up on this, and we'll report back. We'll have more information at the next council meeting.
I just want to make one suggestion for Ms. Jones, because I saw all the pictures. If any way you could get them emailed over to the board so they can email them to Marzulli, because, you know, those items, a few of them don't, you know, look like they need much money to maintain, so hopefully they could be corrected sooner than later.
They should go to Karen.
So thank you, Ms. Jones.
thank you.
They should go to Karen.
Ms. Morelli, you're up next, please.
I'll say it when I speak.
Rosary Morelli, Ralph Road. For the record, Mr. Cirillo, I have been acting as an advocate with Mr. Sayers in the past, ongoing, between us and Marzulli, and Mr. Sayers has worked to correct several, if not many, problems. Right, Jack? Yes, he has been working on it. I have been working on it as an advocate. Tonight I'm here to introduce Ms. Madeline Narduzzi, who's sitting here. She's a junior at our high school, and Madeline would like to share her recent experience with the Tech Support Senior Citizens Mountaineers Mentors Program. But first, again, Mr. Sayers, I have to mention the fact that he called me after the last meeting to apologize for a comment he made. But we have a love-hate relationship, and we keep apologizing to each other.
Keep it going.
I love you just like my mother, you know that.
You had a great mother, I could tell. She was Italian, right?
Yes, she was.
There you go. Okay. Madeline is a co-coordinator of the Senior Citizens Tech Support and Chair Yoga program that was held May 22nd and June 12th at the high school Media Center. Megan White, her co-coordinator, is unable to be here tonight, but she will be here at the next meeting. These are two fabulous, unbelievably, I can't describe how great they are. They are one of the reasons why the program became a rousing success. At Monday's session, there were 35 attendees, which is up, this is senior citizens, which was up from the May program. We would have had more, but we had a serious problem trying to arrange transportation for a lot more people. Hopefully, we're going to work that out come September. Also, I'd like to acknowledge the help and support from high school principal, Mr. Hayden Moore, the Dean of the Mountaineer Mentors, Mr. Stefan Sicella, and Mallory DeMarco, who conducted the chair yoga classes gratis, and the students who took part in the senior citizen, took part with the senior citizens. The intergenerational involvement was so heartwarming. It was a big love fest, some fun fest. The place was jammed crowded. And half of the seniors wanted to take a lot of these students home with them. They're the best. They really are. And all of this could have never happened without those great adults and the students. Again, I thank them all. And I'd like Madeline to come up and speak. She gets 5 minutes.
Ms. Narduzzi, I don't believe you've been up here before, so if you could just give your name and spell that last name, it's a little bit tricky, and then give your address, and then you may speak, please.
Madeline Narduzzi, Narduzzi, 2 Hepworth Court. I'm honored to speak to you today. I think Mrs. Morelli introduced me. I'm a rising senior at West Orange High School. When Mr. Zaccella called me to his office, I think it was in the middle of January, he said that he wanted to build a program, and he was like, I want you in charge. And I'd always wanted to build a program that would help the community in some way. I'd always been reaching out to him. I was like, hey, is there anything I can do? And he was like, not right now. So when he called me, I was super excited. And I've always wanted to like give back to the community because I've been in West Orange for 17 years and my family's been here for over 25. And West Orange it's been my home, and like they've given me so much, and so I just wanted to give something back to them. And working with the senior citizens, it's been really eye-opening, and it's been a good way to like unite the community, because you take like the teenagers who don't get a lot of interactions with the senior citizens because like they got in sports and like their clubs in school, and also to give the senior citizens a chance to like unite with like the teenagers and to experience with them. It's given me the opportunity to exercise my leadership skills and bridge the generational gap. This program is important because it gives the teenagers in our community the opportunity to interact with them. In the past 2 sessions with the Mountaineer mentors that we've had at the Library Media Center, West Orange High School, we've had one-on-one tech assistance with them, so they come in with their questions on like their iPhones, their different tablets, their computers. It could be anything from text messaging to email to social medias, and we're there to help them with anything. We have a great staff with the Mountaineer Mentors of West Orange High School. There's 50 seniors and 50 juniors who are in this program led by Mr. Stefan Zakella. And so far it's been great. We've gotten great feedback from all of them, and they all have been super excited to help out. And all I can see is smiles on the senior citizens' faces and how rewarding it's been for them. And like every time they walk out, they're always like, "Thank you so much for doing this." And it's really rewarding to see them smiling and like very happy. And it's not made up; it's genuine. And the mentors are having just as much of a blast as they are. And it also helps to build the teenagers, because I know a lot of times like we're very technological driven and they have a hard time carrying on conversations, but like when it comes to that, sometimes we don't even like help them with their technology, because like we're just having a conversation and they're like asking about like how many siblings do you have, and like it's a good way to bring in conversation and trying to just like get rid of like the iPhones and like just put everything down and just have like, I don't know. And it's just about uniting the community, and I'm so blessed to have been able to launch this program and to like give back to them. Thank you.
Great job.
Thank you.
Ms. Gardner? Okay, can we do Ms. Gardner first and then Mr. Pringle? Would that work? Okay. Mr. Pringle, you'll be next, please. Is there anyone else who wants to speak? I see Ms. Clemenson had her hand up. Are you still, okay.
I'm ready for my close-up.
You'll be after Mr. Pringle.
Okay. So I'm surprised you knew my name.
Yes.
Okay.
Just please your name and address to start with and spell it,
Renee
please.
Gardner, Woodland Valley Senior Building. I wanted to come here tonight to say what a great program we had going on at the high school. I was at both events, and I can't believe that the kids, I mean, I had brought my tablet. I brought a list of questions with me to remember, which I still forgot one thing, but anyway, that'll be next time, hopefully. And I had a wonderful girl last night, it was, helping me so much with, I mean, I asked a question before I got the question out. She had the answer for me. And it was just like, it was a great experience. And I'm glad I'm getting in on the ground floor. And I hope that the town will allow this to continue, because we seniors really have nowhere to turn. I mean, I have a son, but he's married and he has twins that'll be a year old in a couple of weeks. So I can't bother him. He's got a job, a house, a wife, a blah. I can't ask him, you know, too many questions. And I got the tablet so I could take pictures of the babies and everything. But then I got onto Facebook, which is good and bad. But I have so many questions because I don't know how to do a lot of different things. And I had this wonderful girl, Tiffany, last night at the school. She was a junior at the high school, and she was extremely helpful. I mean, I came out of there feeling like I know what I'm doing with my tablet now. And the last time I had gone, which was in May, I said in May, you know, there were fewer people. And the transportation, I know, is a problem. Like, I can't offer the people in my building because I'm afraid of the liability. If something happens, I just, you know, I'd like to fly solo. But I want to say I hope this program continues, because it's really needed by the seniors. You know, we don't want to bother the kids' work. And like I said, I don't want to be repetitive, but And these kids were like, it was a joy for them. I thought they were going to be bored to tears, you know, with these questions I had, but they were really great about it. So, well, this one, you know, and the other time I had this other fellow, I forget his name, but they were just, it's a great program. I'm hoping the town of West Orange continues to do this because it's 5 minutes from my house, and so it's convenient, and I still need some more help, but I'm very grateful. I'm here to say, this is what I have to say to the kids. Where is she? She left. Oh. I mean, they just did a great job. There were so many people, and then after that they had the yoga, the chair yoga for old people. I almost said a bad thing, but anyway, and that was really great too. You know, it was like at that point like a social thing. So I don't want to go on because I have a tendency, I know, but I am grateful. I hope this continues. I hope the town will back it up, whatever, and that's what I want to say. Okay.
Thank you.
Very nice.
Thank you. Mr. Pringle?
My name is Robert Pringle. I live in the John Renner House, and if possible, I would like to have the buses pick us up to go to the pool 5 days a week, if it's possible, because I have problems with my feet walking, and I also have a back problem. And my doctor wants me to go to the pool to let that whirlpool thing hit my back. So it'd be good if they could, if a possibility, if the buses could pick us up for 5 days a week. I don't know if they can do it, but I would appreciate it. And because I have a lot of problems and I'm a very nervous person. So be possible if there's any way if they can pick us up, because it'd be good for my back and my legs and everything like that. Okay?
Yes, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Pringle.
Okay.
We'll get back to you at the end of the public comment.
Okay.
Okay, thank you. Ms. Clemenson, is there anyone else who wanted to speak tonight? If you could just raise your hand. Ms. Clemenson, please come up. Sorry, I'm just trying to load the breach here. I'm sorry, who else? Okay, would be next.
Okay.
Ms. Scarpa, then after that? Okay.
Okay, good evening. Meryl Clemenson, 4 Cherrywood Circle in West Orange. I'm speaking about Resolution 14217, which has to do with a contract which is to be signed between the West Orange Township and Montclair State University. There's a special center there for research and evaluation on education and human services. The contract size is $10,000, and it will assess the needs of the community residents who are age 55 and older. So it's a very exciting contract, and I just want to begin my comments by thanking Michelle Castellino very much for getting back to me so quickly last night. I sent her a copy of what we wanted to say, and she wrote back very quickly with some very constructive comments. So I'm looking forward to how we can get this to be successful. For the record, the 2010 U.S. Census counted almost 12,000 residents of West Orange as being 55 years or older. That's 25% of the population. Some of us West Orange residents are part of an ad hoc group learning about a national initiative which is called Aging in Place, and we're interested in how it's being implemented in nearby towns and in West Orange. We're looking forward to this upcoming survey. It's extremely important to help set public policy and spending guidelines. And just so the residents know, there are 3 other surveys that have been done nearby that were highly successful in terms of producing results for residents. One of them, the most recent, was South Orange Maplewood. I think that was done last year. Before that, a few years ago, was Montclair, and a long time ago was Princeton. Princeton's way ahead of the game in providing an age-friendly community. All of these surveys have revealed a deep desire by residents to what's called aging in place, and they rank transportation and mobility #1 in their survey needs, which is not a surprise. They also included enrichment programs and intra-generational activities on their wish list. So just for the town council to consider for signing this contract, there's a couple of summary issues I just want to bring to your attention. One is kind of a cohesive understanding of what the town would hope to achieve by signing this agreement. Secondly, we would very much like to see residents included in the design and implementation of the survey, and Michelle has already written back that
can happen, which is fantastic. We'd also like to encourage meaningful participation by residents in the survey. They're not going to get it for a while, but we'd love to see people age 55 and over take a few minutes. It's not going to take very long. It's going to be on SurveyMonkey, which is really easy to fill in. It'll be extremely important. So we'd like to help. Some of us residents would like to help make sure that the survey result gets out to as many people as possible. And then the other thing is, once the report is submitted to the town by Montclair State University, it's Dr. Eden Kiss, who's responsible for it.
I think it's Kiss.
Kiss, K-Y-S-S. So we're interested in, once she prepares the report, how will the town, in fact, think about implementing the recommendations, and what kind of budget considerations could there possibly be? From a human resource standpoint, I just want to point out a couple of fast points. We're interested in knowing if the residents, some of us residents, can be participants in a kickoff meeting to understand what data collection will be in the survey. I think if there's two important meetings the residents want to be part of, it's that, and then the report that comes back to the Public Health Department prior to its release to the public. So we would love to be involved with those two key meetings. We'd also request that the Town Council will make any information that's shared between Montclair State University and the Public Health Department to be available to the public. We're a little concerned about the time that Dr. Kiss, who is going to sign off on the report, I think that according to the contract guidelines, she's only going to be providing 1 day. And I'm understanding from Town Council person Castellino that actually she or her nearby departments have worked on these surveys before, so it could be that she's very familiar with it. But we are a little concerned about the timeline being a little tight. And my final comment would be something I already said, so I'm done. So thank you very much.
Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you, Ms. Levinson. Very
So
quickly.
sorry. I was going to introduce Margaret Ames to speak next because she is my neighbor and she's new to our neighborhood. We're going to take care of her child while she speaks. But I was very excited to have Margaret move into the neighborhood because we discovered that she was she has been a geriatric social worker in New York City in charge of all kinds of programs. So we're very interested in getting her involved with those of you on the council who are interested in these really far-reaching programs. She knows all about it. So Margaret, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you for the lovely introduction.
I was thinking that it was your child who really seems to want to speak. So
He sure does.
I'm surprised.
I apologize for the background noise.
I'm surprised when you came
He's
up.
quite participatory.
I guess he's just going to talk the rest of the meeting. Okay.
No, I hope not.
If he's quiet during your speech, we'll know something's up.
So I apologize. Again, my name's Margaret Ames. The last name is spelled A-M-E-S. I live in Rock Spring, like Mariel mentioned, on Hillcrest Avenue. When I met Mariel as the head of the Neighborhood Watch there, I was very excited to hear about the senior advocacy that was going on here. Also, moving here from New York City, I had explored, although I'm a stay-at-home parent, obviously, right now, I had explored what was available, and I was noticing that there's all these wonderful initiatives for age-friendly programs in Montclair and Soma, and very invigorated by those initiatives that were going on and the results that they were seeing. And also in touching, do you want me to hold you? I'm sorry. Sorry. Who's the only way we can get her? What are you going to say? Are you going to say hi too? Okay. So, being said, I'm not only an aging in place specialist, I also am a big advocate of intergenerational programs. Case in point, it takes a village to make things work in our lives, and as a community as well. And most importantly, when people choose to age in place, there's a lot of needs that can go unmet, and I feel that West Orange is really a prime location for these types of initiatives. Being a suburb of New York City and having a large number of residents in this cohort, and not only to look at what the current needs are met, which I was very excited to hear this resolution about the survey, and I'm hoping that this is going to be a community needs assessment that will not only be looking to meet the current needs that are unmet at this time, but also build infrastructure and a model in place for those who choose to age in place as our population shifts in this age bracket. So I'm hoping I'm touching upon everything. It's a little distracting, I'm sure, for all of us. So I'd love to be involved. I have some concerns, as I would go be on my own, drawing from my own experience on conducting surveys. There's a lot of challenges to overcome, especially with distribution and reaching seniors and finding out where they are in our community. So thank you for your patience. Thank you. And for the welcome distraction, right?
Thank you.
Very cute. I like the hat.
Ms. Scarpa, is there anyone else who'd like to speak? Could you raise your hand? I see you. Anyone else? Oh, yes, I'm sorry, you two. Sorry. You two will be next, please. Please, Ms.
Hi,
Scarpa.
Susan Scarpa, 343 Gregory Avenue. And I'm here also to talk about the Seniors Initiative. I am just so excited, as you probably could imagine, to see the town council actually getting the survey going and trying to determine how we can best assist our senior citizens. I was reading the contract with Montclair State, and I have a few questions about the survey design. I had put together a similar type of thesis for my master's, and I actually polled special education parents. And so I think it's important to really communicate some of the following kinds of ideas when you do a thesis or a survey. The first was, I wanted to know what kind of scientific methods will be used to determine the sample of the population and make sure it's representative of the population at large. The second question was, given the legal definition of a senior citizen as elderly persons, usually more than 60 or 65 years of age, and the fact that most of these senior surveys that we've seen include people over 55, differentiate between upcoming seniors and seniors. So how will the analysis of the responses reflect the categorical differences of a senior versus an upcoming senior? And this is important because you can imagine people who are 55 to 65 have very different needs than the population of 65 plus. The third question was, what tools will Montclair State use during data analysis to validate data accuracy? 4, what is the cost to the township to distribute and enter the data for the survey? 5, what steps are being taken to avoid the problem of self-confirmation bias or any other bias in the distribution of analysis of survey responses? The 6th question is the survey data collection timeline. Target date is June 8th, 2017, which is passed. Does the township have a draft of the resident survey already? And the last question was about data collection. The data collection timeline states that data collection training will be provided after the resident survey is uploaded. Why would the said training not occur before the survey is uploaded? And the last thing I want to do is I really just want to give a shout out again to Mr. Moore and the Mountaineers. The kids I wish every one of you could have been there. There was just a love and a respect and a camaraderie in the room that we all want to see continue to go on. Mr. Moore really embraced this program and the whole idea of this intergenerational program from the beginning. He loves our seniors. He understands the benefit of the program for both our seniors and for the students. And after listening to the Dean, I'm sure that you would agree. I just want to thank the Board of Education also and all of the administration for supporting the program, because I think it's this type of program that will bring our community together. Ben, thank you, Michelle, for all your effort.
Oh, thank you.
Thank you. Ms. Perkowski?
Hi, can you hear me? Monica Perkowski, 17 Bloomfield Way. Do you need me to spell that? No? Okay. I won't try not to repeat what's already been asked. I had some additional questions about the survey that we're discussing tonight. So Michelle has kept the PR Commission up to date, obviously, with the plans. But I understand there was a meeting after our last meeting. So I'm hoping just to get some questions that may be answered tonight, or maybe we don't know the answers yet. And also to let you guys know that the PR Commission, some of the members, if not all of the members, will also be involved in the training and facilitation of the survey as well. For the deployment plan, I know that we're talking web and paper, so I guess one question is, we all know that not everyone has web access, so aside from using the library with some computers, is there a plan in place to distribute via paper? I think traditionally we've been very good at getting out to some of the senior buildings, but you know, I can speak on behalf of my parents, people that are seniors and live in a regular household. I think sometimes they miss some of the information. So how do we ensure that we get the information to all the residents in town? We mentioned that, or the contract mentions that they'll allow multiple survey recipients to use the same IP address. So from a marketing perspective, how are we ensuring data integrity and that all of the that there's no duplication or false results there? And the kickoff meeting, I don't know if it was said yet, but did it happen? It looked like it was scheduled to happen in the contract. I don't know if that's been pushed. But some questions before, are there residents or can there be residents involved in that meeting? And how or who is contributing to what questions are being included in the survey when it goes out? And finally, how residents can volunteer. I know the PR Commission, we've already said that we would be involved, but I know there's a slew of residents that are interested in helping facilitate that. So when you guys have information about that, that would be great. Thanks.
Thank you. Is there anyone else who'd like to speak? Please raise your hand.
Hello, everyone. Cindy Matute Brown, 24 Corwell Circle.
What's your last name?
Matute Brown, M-A-T-U-T-E, Brown, as in the color. I just wanted to come and take this opportunity to tell you just how wonderful it was a weekend to be a West Orange resident. It really was an amazing experience. As a member of Essex Rising, we try to get out in the community a lot, and I love the engagement, the fellowship, the community building, but I was most inspired by how quickly the town not only facilitated but participated in our first Pride Parade. And I saw Mr. Sawyer, you look great in the shirt. The large fit you perfectly. But wow, it went from a comment that was kind of negative on Facebook, and it turned out to be an amazing event. And I know the town pulled it together in a very short time. You know, our Department of Public Works, our police department, our mayor, and our assemblyman, McKeon, was out there. So it was really, really great to see everyone. I also wanted to take a moment to, on behalf of the Fair and Welcoming Committee for Essex Rising, to thank you on the progress that has been made. And I see the emails and all of the work that's been done on the municipal ID program. I am very inspired for the progress and further progress, hopefully, to be made on the Fair and Welcoming Committee. And lastly, I wanted to say to Mr. Krakowian, at the Men Who Cook event, you said, try the spice rub chicken. And I would have voted for that in first place, but my husband also I volunteered him to cook the barbecued shrimp, so that's the one I voted for. But your son's would have been second and yours would have been third. But I just wanted to share a little bit of, you know, the pride that I felt this week and this weekend, being a West Orange resident. Thank you.
Thank you.
And thank you for not saying that I've never won in the 7 years I've been there. Please. Is there anyone else who would like to speak? Please raise your hand now, or forever hold your peace.
Hi, Anthony Puglisi, representing County Executive Joe DiVincenzo. I just want to backtrack a little bit. Obviously in West Orange, June 3rd was a very busy day. You had your fair along Main Street. Up on Northfield Avenue at Turtleback Zoo, we had our annual open house. And we welcomed over 13,000 people that day. So to have 20,000 people, or more than 20,000 people, come to West Orange in one day is quite a feat, and it, you know, it's a tribute to you guys and to the county working together, making this a great place that people want to come and spend some time in. So let me just continue at the zoo. On Monday, we opened our Lion and Hyena exhibit that was dedicated to Ronald Mount, the late Ronald Mount. He was a volunteer docent, and a Zoological Society member. He started as a donor. He donated to our Bears in Backyard exhibit, and then he loved the zoo so much he donated a lot of his time. So with the help of his family, that exhibit opened on Monday. It's been a success, even though with the weather it was very difficult to construct. But everything looks good there. Councilwoman McCartney mentioned the penguin exhibit. So we were gearing up to begin construction on that, which will be sometime this summer. And that'll be just another extension at the African Adventure area. So that'll be beyond where the lion is located. And that'll actually move the penguins, they're South African penguins, from in front of the cafe building to the African Adventure area. So it puts all the animals from one continent together. And then just down the road, taking the place of the penguins in that area will be flamingos. So nothing's been drawn up on that yet, so that will be coming to the planning board. I guess because of our county executive, it'll be rather sooner than later. Our summer concert series begins this weekend and continues through September 10th. We have 32 events this summer over a 10-week period. And then at the Clipper Pavilion, which is off of Cherry Lane, during July is Parks and Recreation Month. So we have a variety of yoga events, movies, and just other arts and crafts activities. The month-long celebration is just to get people out into the open spaces, show off our Parks Department, and obviously the Clipper Pavilion in West Orange is a sight to see. And then also at the zoo during July and August on Wednesdays and Thursdays, we have extended hours until 8 o'clock. And on Thursdays on the top of the parking deck are Zoovies. That's free movies with animal themes. So we invite you to come out to all those events. And as always, all this information is on our website, which is EssexCountyNJ.org. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Puglisi.
Thank you.
Is there anyone else who'd like to speak at public comment? Please raise your hand. Seeing no hands, I will close public comment and invite my colleagues to respond. Who would like to go first? Councilwoman Castellino?
I'd just like to make a suggestion, being that I was going to ask to pull for discussion the contract for the survey. Our director, Teresa Nova, is sitting in the back there, so she'll be making a presentation to us. So then I just figure, it's more appropriate for her to speak to what the health department, how they're going to facilitate this. And then I have some of my notes from our meetings, and I'll just add in or try to fill in the blanks what she doesn't hit upon.
That seems like an efficient way to handle it. Yes, thank you.
All right, so
Mr. Nova, don't go anywhere, please.
yeah, she's all ready to roll. So I don't know if that's up to you, Council Press. You want to wait till to get to that part?
Yeah, let's wait.
Finish
yes.
Public comment first. To all the residents, thank you for coming down. Ms. Jones, in regards, I know Councilman Guarino, you're on top of this with the run a house. Just a note, our social worker, Ms. Duffy, is she able to extend services, or how does that work? Is that through the township, or does the rent a house supposed to have their own social worker present? I didn't know the answer to that, but
The bottom line is that the board basically runs what has to happen at the rent a house. So if in fact people who are running the building aren't running it properly, then the board needs to discuss that with the people who run the building. We don't run the building. We don't pay for things in the building. It's all done by the board.
okay.
I can touch base, Councilwoman, when you go into my turn.
Okay, I just want to let Ms. Jones know if there is a need for a social worker, you could go through the township as well with Ms.
The one
Duffy.
thing we do provide is health services through our health department.
I can be more specific to that question. The management company collects $25 per unit for resident services. So they oversee the resident services program. So it's up to them to develop a program. Should they be deficient in the administration of the resident services program, it has to be brought up before the board so that it could be addressed. But it's independent from the township. They have their own budget and to run their own activities.
Correct.
Thank you, you're right.
Okay, great. And just to touch upon the Mountaineer Mentoring Program, you know, Mr. Moore, Mr. Stefan Sakella, you know, two of the people I miss not working with on a weekly basis up at the high school. Great program, always interacting with the community and sometimes with the youth and now with our older residents. And you know, kudos to them and Madeline for coming down. I'm sorry she had to leave. I'm sure it's finals week at West Orange High School, so I'm sure she went home because she appears to be a dedicated student. But our mom should be really, really proud. Our kids there are phenomenal. They have just year after year always impressed me. The programming, I'm glad this new program with the technology came into place, and thank you for the residents for bringing it up to Mr. Moore. He's always willing to work with our residents with any new idea. For years, high school classes have been going to the Daughters of Israel. My son was fortunate enough to be a part of that program, the senior citizen prom, the holiday parties, the plays, always the interaction. They've been interacting with the community. They feel that it's important for our students to make them better citizens, and I'm glad this program's really taken off. It's exciting. And how young do they start? Because I could use some help on occasion. My kids always ignore me. And Ms. Coroner, you ask them to teach you FaceTiming so you could see FaceTiming. The kids will know what it is. So you'll need that skill set so you could see your grandchildren. And as far as the program, the Board of Ed would be the one to continue it because it's coming from them as far as transportation. I'm sure, you know, Mr. Sayers has been wonderful so far, and even the issues with the pool, I'm sure something could be worked out, but great job with the programming. And Ms. Brown, yes, great. It was pulled together quickly, and I know many of us were committed that day already. I know I was at a 4-hour dance recital for my niece. It was payback time for when my daughter danced. So, but it was a beautiful day, and yeah, great. Another great weekend here in West Orange. So glad you enjoyed it. I look forward to the comments on the survey in a little bit. Thank you, folks. Council President.
Thank you. Councilman Cirillo, you ready?
Yeah, sure.
Okay,
Councilman,
please.
I think we hit on most of the notes most of the issues that were addressed. We're leaving the issues with the survey to the side, right, until we get to that portion of the agenda. Hopefully we can do it early because we have an audience that wants to discuss that issue. We'll get to it early. But yeah, I just want to stress that point to our seniors from the Rena House visiting today. It's an independent board, and they have their independent budgets to run their independent programs. With respect to the repairs, the structural repairs that you mentioned, the Rena House, and I don't want to, I know that you can share some of this information sitting on the board. The Rena House recently financed under the Rental Assistance Demonstration Program. So you have a windfall of funds, capital funds, that will be used to revitalize the property. So somewhere there has to be a physical needs assessment, a plan to address these capital improvements. So remember that word, physical needs assessment. You'll see a chart which outlines in years how the money will be spent to address those issues, or the carpeting, or the doors, or the cabinets. It can't be done all in one shot because the revenue is not coming in at that speed. But over time, the companies develop this plan so that it could be addressed periodically. So if you can get your hands on anything that will help you figure out how and why certain repairs aren't being made, look at that physical needs assessment for that property. Just ask for that document or a summary, and that'll help you with that question. I addressed the issue with the services. But again, I guess what we can do on our end as council people is advocate to your board members, and we have some board members here, your concerns that have been expressed here so that they can be taken back and ultimately addressed with the management company so that we can develop a better product. One more thing that I want to say on that, a lot of the issues that come up from property management have to do with communication. Communication is the key. You know, the management company, the board, or whoever, whatever entity is responsible for managing a property, overseeing the property, has to communicate with the tenants. There has to be a channel so that we can all operate in a transparent fashion and we all know why certain things aren't being done or when certain items are going to be addressed. So that's on the issue with the rent-a-house. One question I have is the pool. I know this issue came up, transportation to the pool from the rent-a-house. Where are we with that question?
We are doing transportation. Mr. Nova is here. She'll talk about that a little bit also. There is a plan when the pool opens full-time to pick everybody up as we did last year. So we are doing it. I'm not so sure. I missed what the gentleman said because I wasn't in the room, but
yeah, he wants to go 5 days
a week.
Yeah. I think we're going to do that probably when the pool opens full time. But Mr. Novo's addressed that.
Terrific. And one more point: the Mountaineer Mentoring Program. That's terrific. That's a terrific program, and I'm glad there are kids out there that there's some kids that like to volunteer. There are other kids that they much rather do other things. It's our right. But I'm glad that there is a vehicle for volunteerism for the kids that do want to spend time with our seniors. I just hope that we continue to reach out not only to our senior population in terms of marketing. I would like to find out how Ms. Gardner found out about this program, and then the other issue is making sure that the word is getting around the school that this program exists for any child that wants to participate. It makes, as Cindy mentioned, it makes us proud to be part of this community, seeing these types of initiatives. So thank you for stressing that and mentioning. Yeah, how did you find out about that?
Because I became a friend of the library. I met these two lovely ladies at the library, and they led me to that.
Thank you.
And that's all right.
Terrific. Yeah, no. I don't mean to cut you off. It's just I don't want to be out of line with the council president because then he won't let me speak later on during the meeting. But thank you, Council President, for your time, and thank you for sharing that information. Thank you. That's all.
Councilman?
Thank you, Council President, and thank you, Councilman Cirillo, for the updates too. Just to bring is I've been going to the rent-a-house and talking to the tenants at their tenant meetings and getting the information. I've been walking the building with and taking pictures of the situation throughout. The problem is, like we're saying, communication. Sometimes we're not told, and sometimes during the board meetings, nothing is brought up. Now we have a list of to-do lists, and I've asked Marzulli for a capital improvement plan of what they're planning to do, other than the windows. The major part of that recapitalization was the window, which the windows will be going in. They did the test windows, and they work fine, especially during a major storm. No leakage, everything is fine. So that's the majority of the refinancing dollars, but I've asked Marzulli Management for the contingency for the rest of the use of the capital expenditures, which is very important. It was good talking to the residents because they're able, but their one problem is, and it always bothers me, the first thing they say is they're afraid. Well, then come here. If you're afraid to make a complaint, then come to the council. I'm a board member. Mrs. Morelli is a board member. The fact is, don't be afraid, like I said to you at the meeting. Nobody's going to throw you out of the building, okay? You have a decent complaint, a legitimate complaint. I add it to my list, and I give it. At our next meeting that I have with Marzulli and our board, I'm bringing this whole list of 13 issues that need to be addressed, plus the pictures. So we're doing that. But please always make sure to reach out to us. Just want to go with the other thing about our road diet. I didn't mention that our next Pedestrian Safety Advisory Board meeting, which has a lot to do with seniors too, and our road diet and our complete streets, is July 13th at 7:30 p.m. at Turtleback Zoo at the Educational Center. Now, the one thing I have the county working on right now, and they're going to get to me, is they need to look at the time measure of what it takes to cross from one part of the intersection to the next, and to reduce it from 4.0 per feet to 3.5 per feet, and that gives especially seniors, more time to cross the intersection before the lights change. So they're doing an analysis right now, and they're going to get back how they're going to do a measurement for reducing that exposure to the lamp. Also, too, with the road diet, also has sections during roadways where you narrow in the roadway and it reduces the length of the crosswalk from end to end. So those are things, and you need to come and see that. And if you look at the road diet presentation on the website, you'll get an idea. Thank you about the, Pride Day was great. I wish they would have said something sooner, because a lot of us had other things. It hurts when it's last minute, but we have liked to be there, but we were there in spirit. But next time, we'd like to get, get it out right away so we can be there and participate. Most important thing to do is to participate. Also on June 19th is the Downtown West Orange Alliance meeting in room 102. There are many things going on, especially with our road program, and you should come and make your voices heard or see our presentations. And also with the mentoring program, it's a great thing, it's engagement, and it's great that the seniors and everybody's getting out to use it, because if you don't use it, you lose it. And it's good, and I know the kids feel good. I don't want to call them kids. The young adults feel good because they're getting involved in their community. And it's important that we engage them, and Mr. Moore and Mr. Sakella have really brought the thing to the forefront, and now all we have to do is work. The township and the Board of Education have to work together and do more to make it accessible and to do whatever we can do to grow the program, because I know there are a lot of young people out there who want to be actively involved. So that's all I have to say. Thank you, Council President.
Councilwoman?
Thank you. I wanted to start with a thank you to Dave Kuby and Anthony Puglisi, providing chock-full agenda of summer events. That is part of the draw here for West Orange. And a thank you to Ms. Julia Jones for highlighting the physical needs that Victor Cirillo just mentioned, that assessment. I was really surprised to see your pictures. I think the pictures tell the whole story of the physical and needs assessment needed for the building. I was pleased to hear, I just spoke to the chair of the board earlier this week, or last week, about the window replacement and how that did take years in the making, but that is happening. Get a copy of the physical needs assessment, find out what that long-term plan is, exactly what we did for the library, made that request here at the council, and we asked for a 3-year plan. We were given a 5-year plan, and see if they have all of this work lined up, and if not, you have members of the board here that will assist you with that. The Mountaineer Mentors Program, I know that started 20 years ago with Karen Tarnoff, but that was an in-school program. My husband wired the building for FiOS, which is why I was familiar with it. I'm so pleased to hear how well that's going, just from residents that I speak to. And that it's extended out of the school year. It's not just a class for a limited number of people. So I definitely see it growing. And it comes so naturally for the students that they just know how to do this stuff. And I think it will actually teach them patience and tolerance and just learning how to be helpful. So I think it's great. And I'm happy to hear about the students. That's always been my experience working with high school on so many different events. So I'm glad that continues. Well, here's Cindy. Thank you for the message. Your messages are always positive, so I do appreciate that, about the Pride Parade. And I imagine that it will become an annual event as a remembrance for Orlando. So could just continue that support. And we're going to hear from our health director. I think that's exact. I guess maybe Tricia will answer this question, but it is a community needs assessment, and I'm hoping that it is going to be a town-wide mailing and not picking and choosing residents. So I'm anxious to hear your presentation. Thank you.
Thank you. I just want to say thanks to everyone for what a really great public comment period tonight. There was a lot of important issues that were raised, a lot of good questions, excellent questions on the survey, and a lot of insightful comments. So I just want to say a general thank you to everyone. Also want to just specifically say on the survey, there seems to be a great deal of expertise in the room about the survey, and I would respectfully request that the township and Ms. DeNova incorporate these folks into the process as quickly as possible to get the benefit of their expertise and their interest. Also, I want to thank Ms. Jones for coming and bringing these issues before the council and the administration, and I would like to ask Councilman Guarino, since he's on the board there, to please plan to be able to report back to us at the next council meeting on where things stand. I know this is sort of a quick wham bam, but if you've got a couple weeks, maybe we can pull together some additional insight and detail. So thank you.
Absolutely.
And with that, I'm going to move on because, as Councilman Cirillo said, there's a lot of people here that want to talk about the survey, and we have Ms. DeNova here too. So what I'd like to propose is that we move to the consent agenda, but we not, unless it's imperative, not ask questions or make other comments about anything that's going on the consent agenda, that we save that portion until after we deal with the pulled agenda, and we should put the survey resolution related to the survey at the top of our discussion. Does that sound like a plan to everyone?
Yeah, great.
Okay.
No, for me, for the Edison event. Yeah, here's a...
Madam Clerk, did you hear that new plan?
Yes.
It's a huge strategy. It's a totally different strategy.
We're going through the, I'm sorry, we're
He's
going through
winging
the
it here.
consent agenda.
Yeah, so what we want to do is move through the consent agenda, but hold our questions and comments about the legislation that we're going to vote for, and we'll save that till the end, and we'll do the consent agenda and then address the pulled legislation, and at the top of that would be the resolution related to the survey, and then after we're finished with the pulled legislation, then we come back and can do our questions and comments about legislation that, even though we've already approved it, would still be something we discuss, and that way we can get the survey.
Yeah, that's
Does
a great
that
idea.
sound like a plan?
Yes.
Madam Clerk?
But the only thing is, I just want to understand, so we're not going to do anything with the resolutions right now?
Yes, we're going to do the,
We're gonna do
sorry, I
consent.
talked too
Yes.
much. What we want to do is do the consent agenda,
I got that.
but save all of our questions and comments about the legislation related to the consent agenda. You know, a lot of times we ask questions about stuff we're going to vote for.
Right.
So save that. So get the consent agenda, then address the pulled legislation,
Okay.
and then at the top of the list for the pulled legislation will be the survey.
Okay.
And then we'll come, after we're finished with the pulled legislation, we'll come back to the comments and questions.
Okay. Okay.
Please.
Approval of minutes of previous meeting, public meeting, May 23rd, 2017.
Consent.
Report of township officers, none. Reading of petitions and communications and bids, none. Bills. Are there any questions on the bills?
Consent.
Resolutions. Are any resolutions being pulled this evening?
Well, 14217.
Thank you. Okay.
Is anyone else?
Just have question or comments on the rest of it.
Okay, so we'll save those till later. I'd like to pull, if everybody else is, nobody's going to pull anything else, I'd like to pull agenda item K, resolution 13417, it's the change order, and then also agenda item L, resolution 13517, the other change order. And those won't take long. I'll make it clear when we get to that point.
Okay. Is that all?
I believe that's all.
Okay.
Question on
Is
that?
there a motion to approve the consent agenda?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? The consent agenda is implemented. Now, did you want to address that particular resolution?
Yes, so let's move to resolution, it's agenda item S, resolution 14217, resolution authorizing the execution of an agreement with Montclair State University to administer research related to the health needs of township residents age 55 and older. And I believe Councilman Castellino volunteered Ms. DeNova to come up and make a presentation about the survey.
Yes.
Mr. Nova is the Township Health Officer and is the head of the Health Department, and would greatly appreciate a presentation.
She actually volunteered herself this morning,
Oh,
so
okay.
thank you,
Okay.
Director.
Thank you, Teresa.
Okay, Teresa DeNova, Health Officer for the Township of West Orange. I was asked by the administration to participate and collaborate with our grant writer to apply for a grant with Partners for the Health Foundation to produce and administer and provide, I don't know if we're saying senior citizen anymore or older adult, to provide a survey and a needs assessment in the township. Our survey will begin at age 55. Well, I don't know which one I'm talking into. Our survey will begin at age 55. The Zool.
Excuse me, just a second, Ms. DeNova.
Okay.
Hold on.
I'm sorry.
Yeah, Mr. Pugliese, could you? Yes, thank you very much. I'm sorry, go ahead.
So I was asked to collaborate with our grant writer to apply for a grant with Partners for Health Foundation to provide and administer a senior citizen needs assessment survey for the township. And as I was saying, sometimes it says older adult, sometimes it says senior. There's all different ages that people interpret when a senior becomes a senior. But our survey is going to begin at 55 because we want to gain knowledge from people that are going to be going into those years. And that's the standard practice to try to do this needs assessment. I want to say the grant was for $10,000 with Partners for Health Foundation, and that grant is contingent upon the contract with Montclair State University, the Center for Research and Evaluation and Education for Human Services. That's the CREACH, the acronym, because they have been active and experienced in providing these surveys. That's what they do. They evaluate statistics and they interpret them. And we were very happy to try to partner with them to help us gain this information. So they are helping the health department. We've met with them via video conference several times. And I know that people have talked about a timeline. The timeline is flexible. It gives us, a baseline to try to accomplish things. But nothing can really formally begin until the contract is signed. So what Partners for Health is going to do is provide us the funds to perform the survey with Montclair State. And we would pass that money along through the money we receive from Partners for Health to Montclair State during the intervals that's required in the agreement that we signed with them. To this point, I appreciate everything that everyone said in the room. There's a lot of good ideas, but who we have on the committee right now is myself, our social worker, our senior public health nurse, and Councilwoman Castellino has been on the committee as the council liaison. And, together we have, approximately 90 years public health experience between the three of us. And, we deal with senior citizens every day. We know a lot of the problems that we hear and a lot of the concerns that we have when things come up, every day that we communicate with them. So one of the things that I wanted to do, we've certainly looked at other surveys, and everybody looks at the AARP National Survey, but I wanted to kind of tailor it a little more towards West Orange. And one of the things that I wanted to do in the survey is there's going to be a section that's, do you know? So I questioned all of the divisions and departments in the town to ask them, what services they provide to senior citizens, either by
a program or a discount or any kind of service that's provided. And I like to include that and ask the residents, do they know that the town is providing this for them? Whatever the service is, whether it's transportation or something that the clerk is doing or something that the police are doing or fire department. So I wanted to include that in there to kind of take the opportunity to also inform them as to what we're doing. And maybe they don't know about it. Maybe we're not, getting the word out there enough to them. So the survey that Montclair State is going to be doing is going online. That's an online survey. And we know that all senior citizens are not online. So what the town is going to do, the health department is going to do, is we're going to produce the same survey that's online in written format and also reach out to our older residents with the written survey in case they are not comfortable with the online survey. Part of the grant is training, and the training is going to be for some of the people will be employees, but also volunteers that are going to help the older residents complete the survey. And the training is for, my understanding, is for to tell them how to complete the survey, but also to make sure that it's done in a way that the person submitting the survey is not influenced in any way by anyone, and it's their opinion in their words and their expression of what they feel that they need or want for the future in the township. So we're very excited about it. I hope it's going to be a great survey. We want to try to get a cross-section of everyone. I can't say there's going to be a mailing to every household because I don't know if that's going to happen. But we're certainly going to try to reach out to every household to let them know that the survey is out there for them to perform either through a link or how we can reach out to them with a written survey. And we certainly want to reach out to every neighborhood and
community organizations.
yeah, we're going to, we have a list of different ways and methods and people that we're going to reach out to and organizations to try to help us to reach out to as many people as we can. And of course there'll be a press release and there will be kind of like a fanfare to get things going, to get people motivated, to be excited about completing it. So that's where we are pretty much right now. We didn't sign the contract yet, so until we sign the contract we can't really get going with the real meat of what's going to happen here. If you have any questions, I'd like to answer your questions.
I'd like to defer to Councilwoman Castellino because she's been the most involved, my understanding is the most involved of anyone in the council, so it might be a good time for her to just sort of chime in and that may answer some of our other questions. Does that sound like a fair way to address? Everybody else will get.
All right, so I have a lot of questions written down from the residents via email and who attended this evening. So let me start out saying with the Center for Research and Evaluation on Education and Human Services from Montclair State University, CREECH. They have provided these services for numerous towns, inclusive they had performed 2 surveys for Montclair, Madison, Ridgewood, Patterson, and they've also recently done one for the Township of Bloomfield. Their director, skipping around here, Dr. Eden Neese has been with them for 15 years. She has a PhD in quantitative measurements. She has been providing aging in place surveys for well over 6 years. Erin Bunger, she's our research associate, our senior research associate. She has been involved in public health settings for over 10 years and also been providing these surveys for 10 years as well. Child advocacy she dealt with, public housing issues, and the past few years with the aging in place. And 2 other of their staff members as well has 10 years experience. It's not just graduate students, it's staff. They've been doing this for a while. So we're very comfortable with their expertise, and when they when we sit down with them and we express all concerns, especially about the bias issue, and it's all in the training, they stated. So they will train as our director just stated, they will train our employees as well as residents. We anticipate on reaching out to all the different groups in the township. I had already had a chat with the PR Commission, because obviously they should be involved to go do the outreach to get the word out there and get the residents involved. So it's a great job they're looking forward to. They understand the importance. Muriel, you had mentioned how many residents that we have, 55 and older rather, and I asked them about how many residents should we shoot for to participate in the study. What's a great sample? So Montclair had 789 participants in one study. In their more intensive study, they only had 100. I have these numbers from the university, so these aren't things I'm assuming. They only had 100 in their extensive study. So, and I asked them, well, how many should we shoot for? We're going to be very ambitious. We hope to reach 1,000 residents. It's going to be a task, but basically what they suggest is, or what they're going to do is they're going to look at our township, demographics. And so as the survey progresses, because again, it's not just a couple weeks we're offering the survey, it's going to be over the course of a few months. And as the time progresses, as the surveys are being submitted online and the PDFs to the university, they will then compare the data that they're receiving to our demographics, and they'll see which portions of the population we may be missing. So, for example, if we're missing, say, our Hispanic population, then we have to make an outreach. Look to my council partner here with the Hispanic Foundation to see if they could gain us assistance. What's great in West Orange, and as you know, there's so many great organizations. Friends of the Library, already, you went and you met some residents. So there's a lot of cross-referencing that we could do. So I am fully confident, and our director's confident, and the health department's very excited about this endeavor, that we're going to be able to go out there with all hands on deck mentality, and we're going to out there and we're going to reach out to our residents and get them excited about this study. I mean, let's face it, we've been talking about this for a year. Thank you, Ms. Morelli. You originally brought the concept to us. But you need to understand, and I have a great respect for our health department, working with them so closely now, Ms. DeNova, Patty Duffy, Susan Gidet-Iona, great ladies. They work so hard, and this isn't the only thing they do. There's many other tasks that health and services the health department provides. So this is something that they're very committed to, working with the university that has such great expertise, and we're going to make sure that the job gets done. As in regards to tools of validation, the university uses a program called SPSS, Statistics Packaging for Social Sciences, IBM program that they use to upload. The data analysis that they do, they break everything down. It's going to be a very comprehensive approach, and the report that we receive will give us great information not only on needs, but also on assessing what we already have, who's utilizing it. It's no secret, communication has been an issue, and how we could go about that. Now keep in mind, these reports will be extensive because we will need them to apply for future grants. Partners in Health has a grant next year that we could apply for. We talk about budgeting. So by the time, if all the stars line up and the planets all line up and this all goes well with the timing, this should be completed, report in hand, and we'll be able to apply for more grants, and we'll be approaching next year's budget season. So, it'll be up to the director and her staff to see, what needs are necessary and make those recommendations like she does every year. Anything else that I haven't hit on? And the timeline is flexible, as the director stated. Yes. if we wrap up sooner, then, sooner, we wrap up the final report. If we need more time, we just extend it out, but we just had to have a guideline and a commitment in writing. Bi-weekly meetings, you're having bi-weekly meetings with them. And the initial meeting has occurred. Actually, we did meet in person. And that meeting has occurred with the Montclair state staff, university staff. And again, very professional. They've done these over and over again. Referenced ARP survey, which hasn't been brought to us, but that's a very extensive survey. For those of you who've been reading these surveys, I suggest you go online and read that one as well. And we're gonna create this to fit our needs, and I'm glad so many of you are excited that you came tonight. But the health department will, they'll reach out to the community. So, Director, are you gonna have, I guess, ask folks if they're interested? Like, how are we gonna do that? If you're interested, just to email you, or how do you wanna work that out?
Once I find out that the contract is ratified, then we can start to move forward with all of the other things that have to happen as far as notifying people and trying to reach out to get volunteers and that kind of thing.
Yeah, but
And we
basically,
can solidify that July date maybe for training and
the training
go from
is
there.
key, obviously. It's all in the
Yeah.
training. It's all in, they train you how to outreach, they train you how to present the survey. So, I know some folks may be concerned on how the survey is going to be presented, but you know what? I'm going to be honest with you. Sometimes I get concerned how the residents are going to, gear the other residents to the survey. So everybody's trained. There aren't any worries on both sides.
And it's anonymous. It's an anonymous survey.
And
so
it's an anonymous survey, so folks don't have to feel
nobody
that
has to feel,
you could put your name, though.
if you want, if you want.
Have we missed anything, or we're pretty good?
I don't know. I think that's it so far.
Councilwoman, you had your hand up.
Pretty much questions were answered. I think, reading through this contract, though, it talks about that a brief report will be submitted initially as draft, inviting feedback. Is that sounds like it's at the end of the report? I'm
sorry, can you repeat
I'm just happen to,
What page?
under
on, Sue?
reporting.
Okay.
There are no page numbers on this,
Oh,
I'm sorry.
It is at the end. It is at the end.
Right, so it's at the end. So my understanding was that there was going to be a draft of the survey that would be reviewed. When do you actually see the survey itself?
Oh, yes.
Oh,
Go ahead.
okay.
So
That was my
Councilwoman's
question.
asking
So
about-
this is saying that the brief report will be submitted initially as a draft, inviting feedback, but that's after all the data collection.
Yes.
So
Yes, that's the report.
Survey
we're
comes
talking about.
first.
Okay,
Yes,
right.
that's
So I
going to be
understand.
based on the statistics that they come up with from all of the answers and comments that we get from the residents. And they do what, their statistical performance, they're going to come up with not just, so many people said yes to this or no to that, or there's going to be more of a brief prepared to give us more information about some of the comments that were made.
Okay, so again, my
maybe
question was,
it would help
it was
us
prior
focus
to
on
that.
certain things that
No,
that
I
were brought
understand
out
that.
by the
No,
survey.
It does sound comprehensive. My question is the survey itself.
Yes.
Right. My understanding was that there would be a draft of the survey itself, not the final report, but a draft
we
of the
haven't gotten to
survey.
that point yet. We're going to have to come up with the questions for the survey and agree upon the questions that are going to be asked.
Mhm.
So I'm not sure what you're asking me. Are you asking me
But
if
that's
you
what I'm
could see
asking
the
for. Like, is there a
draft, or-
review, right, is there a review, a committee review of the
Yes.
survey itself? That's the question.
Yes. Yes.
Basically, what has occurred so far is they came in, they sat down extensively with our director and her department, and and the director, as she's just stated, reached out to all the other department heads, getting feedback.
That was a nice
They
section.
have everything, all things senior citizen from us, from transportation to recreation, all information the university has. So now they are starting, once they have our signed contract, that's why I had asked to get it on for this agenda. Once they have this, then they're going to release their work product, and then the tweaking will begin. Okay, so it will be tweaked. It will not go out to the public until, everyone is comfortable with it. Now, and also, I don't want to speak for Ms. DeNova, but if you might want to mention the residents, that you will send it to some residents for review, that
Yes.
that Ms. Iona is
We're
going
going to try to bring in some of the older adult residents before we finalize.
Because we do want to make sure
what
it's
the survey's
user-friendly.
going to be.
And you time it, like you want to make sure the timing, because if it's too tedious, you don't want folks to walk away from it saying that it was too complex. But yeah, it's a balance. So you just keep creating that balance until we're satisfied with the product. And then the product will release, because you want a product out there that folks are going to want to complete. If word starts getting around that it's tedious and it's a waste of time, who's going to, jump in and get this done? So, but it also has to be, it also has to have a lot of meat to it, so we could get the data from it. We need to extract the data so we could move forward here. So.
And I can certainly update you as we go along. We're still kind of in the new stage of this now, and so can Councilwoman Castellino, I guess, update as you have your council meetings.
So I was pleased when you said that there would be a mailing also, that it won't just be online, though I think that's actually the easy part, getting the word out, getting it on the website, getting it on all these neighborhood groups, letting people know that it's there. I think we're going to get more than 1,000. I think we'll get a great response. I do like the section that you've added, Director, about the did you know.
We're also going to have the survey translated into Spanish, so that way we can reach out to, I don't know if that portion will be online or not, but definitely the written one will be also in Spanish.
So when I asked before about doing a town-wide mailing, and I know how expensive that can be, I guess my thought was that there are families taking care of elderly people. So that's why I would want their input to see if there are things that a family would need.
Yes, and will be there'll be questions geared towards home health care.
Okay, that's why I said about a townwide mailing. But it doesn't necessarily have to be a townwide mailing if you are going through all of these measures to get it out, let people know that they can get a copy of it to complete or do it online.
Right, because it's going to be a number of pages, so I don't think we can actually mail the survey, but at least mail out the information to everybody so that they know where they can get a copy of the survey or how to go online to do the survey. Because I think that would be way too expensive
Sounds
to
very
try to mail
accessible.
the survey.
And one of our ideas, you sit in there, you start formulating a lot of great ideas. We want to get this done for the summertime, because where else do we have a great, deal of our senior population but the town pool? And, we'll train folks in the rec department, so if folks come in to utilize, computer there, it's making it user-friendly, it's making folks want to come in, make life easy, and obtain, extracting that data from them. And, Friends of the Library will get involved because, what greater resources are a public library. So this all isn't finalized.
Right, and we also want to have, a section for, I don't want to say a section, but an area where a person can make comments that if we didn't ask a question that they want us to know about, they can certainly enter that information and let us know something that maybe we didn't, was important to them that we didn't put on there. So they would also have that opportunity.
Thank you. Thank you.
Councilman.
Thank you, Council President. Quick question, Ms. Miller. You were talking about mailing the survey, right? Is the survey going to be mailed to people?
No.
Okay, I just heard the word mailing.
Well, Councilwoman McCartney asked that question, and what I'm saying is we'd like to try to do maybe a mailing with another mailing that we could notify all of our residents that this
Help us out.
survey is out there,
Council-
the link to go online,
What we're thinking about is putting
Yeah.
a letter in with the tax bills
Okay.
that go out in July.
Yes.
I don't want to say that because I wasn't sure.
You don't want to,
We got
You
better
still have to make
No,
it
but that would be the
firm. Yeah.
townwide
So
mailing,
let them
right?
know.
Hello, can
and-
I speak? Thank you. We're looking to put in a letter, possibly with the tax bill, which will say, any resident 55 or older, please contact this office or contact this person if you want to fill out the survey.
I have one other question too. You were mentioning about, are you going to be utilizing the senior complexes, the buildings?
Yeah.
Sure.
Again, because a lot of the seniors don't go to the library. I hear and I know from a board member, the seniors don't use our library as much as they should. And they don't get as much turnout. I get the numbers, so I just wanted to make sure I didn't hear that. So
All
the
the
senior
buildings.
complexes will be
Yes.
targeted, and they'll have PCs there or people there to help them do the survey.
Yes.
They may even be targeted with special mailings, the senior buildings.
Oh, sorry.
Well, we want to also try to bring in the managers from the buildings to see if maybe they'll help us with our senior residents if they have any questions, or maybe they might want to attend the training that we're going to be having so they could help facilitate the survey if they agree to do that. So
Excellent.
we're hopefully going to be able to do that, or else have other people there at the buildings to try to help them, to entice them to fill it out.
any idea, let us know.
Yeah.
This is what it's
The
all about. Everybody
Mountaineer
working.
Mentors.
One at a time, please.
There you
One at a
go.
time. Did you finish what you were saying?
Yeah, that was it. Just any idea, just let us know, because,
That was the idea, the Mountaineer Mentors.
yeah.
Director, you mentioned a couple minutes ago that you wanted to bring in people, residents, or how are you going to select them? Because I can see 4 or 5 people just sitting in this room who appeared interested in doing that and also seem to have some expertise in helping develop the survey. So how are you going to decide who you're going to talk to, who's going to be invited to the kickoff meeting or separate meeting? How are you going to do that?
I think first
Well,
we have to find
anybody-
out the numbers,
Just
too.
wait,
Yes, I mean, certainly anybody that's here that wants to participate can contact me. We have, a number of lists that we have access to our seniors, in the community that we can reach out to through email or through phone call or a letter. I haven't really come up with exactly how we're going to come up with that, but there's only a certain number, of people that, you can't have 100 people trying to comment on something because we're not going to accomplish anything like that. So people are stepping forward and they want to comment, they can certainly let me know. And
Yeah, a lot of the comments that I'm hearing, I've got a little bit of background in surveys as well, but a lot of the comments that I hear, I would think are areas where the Montclair State University professor is going to have deep experience and expertise, and she's going to
Absolutely.
be deciding a lot of this stuff.
well, we discussed a lot of things, and we brought up a lot of concerns and some questions in areas that we want to, we think is going to be beneficial. And they're going to come up with some questions that they think are going to be good. And I think that together we'll come up with a very helpful and a valid survey.
Go ahead, I'm sorry.
Well, I'm just going to say, the survey can't go on forever. We can't ask every question in the world. So, we're choosing categories that we think are important, and they're once we finalize everything, if we finalize the contract, then they will present us with some work that they've been working on already, and we'll see if we like it or we don't like it, or we want to change it, or we want to add things, and that's what we have our meetings for. So we've been communicating over, like Skype, I guess it is, every other week.
Oh, okay. So
Since
you've been
we
in regular
decided,
contact.
yes, since so they're really kind of working without really getting any funding yet.
Okay. The contract, the proposed contract, has a budget that exceeds the $10,000 that we're expecting to receive from the Partners Grant.
Yes.
Where's that funding coming from?
It's coming from my budget,
Health Department.
from the Health Department budget.
Okay.
And if there's any, I could propose, I'm sorry, Council President, I just want to add, if there's any PR piece that we could propose to our PR commission for extra budgetary items, we have room in our budget, like, the social media boost and things of that nature for those who are on social media. So that's why it was important to bring the PR commission into this, because they need to be trained and to get the word out, to really utilize, that commission. That's what they're there for.
Has the Montclair State University professor approved using the Public Relations Commission to do this?
Well, that's on us. Like so there's a clause in the contract that we do need to discuss with them in regards to notifying the university of when we want to publicize information. So we are working on a system, because I explained to them how we'll have, at our council meetings, there'll probably be members of the public that may want to speak to the survey. We will speak to the survey and may mention, their by name. And, we have members of the media in the audience that may write an article. We can't control that. So they said that's all fine. It's more of the final publication. We are allowed to upload it on our website. They'll upload it on their website. So they just want to, if we do a media release, we need to send it to them first for review. And so there's just a little, protocol that we're
And we also
finalizing.
need to know on the publications that, funded by Partners in Health, that has to be in there also.
Yes. So those are little things we have to work
Yeah,
on.
contractual issues.
The reason I ask is because Central, in the surveys that I've been involved with, and there hasn't been a needs assessment, so I'm not familiar with that area. But it was always most important to have random selection. And if you take too significant of steps to make sure that different portions of a potential survey population know about it as opposed to others, then you get the potential for, adverse selection. And that's why I was asking, have you run this plan past the professor?
Oh, we're
to make
working
sure?
directly with them. We go over all the different, they were excited to hear. We listed the different community organizations, and they were highly impressed on, our community organizations, and the cross referencing that is done in the community. So again, if we see that the outreach isn't happening, or there's a certain segment of the population that we feel that there's a low sample from, we'll have that data. They will be constantly looking at data, because we can compare it to our demographics. They take our township demographics, and they'll know if we need to do more of an outreach to one particular part of the community. Because the ideal situation is to get a sample across the board of your entire demographic population.
For example, if we have a section on the residents' living situation, when they answer the question, we'll know that so many people are answering from a single-family home, or they're answering from an apartment or a townhome, so we'll know by the answers that we get what segment of the population is filling the survey out. If they're being honest we're hoping everybody's going to be honest in how they fill it out. So.
Right. I was just.
Yes. So we will. We're going to try to reach out to everyone, and we have a varied community here. Single-family homes. We have, condominiums. We have townhouses. We have apartment complexes. We have senior houses. So there's a lot of varied situations and neighborhoods, and we're going to try to reach them all.
Yes. Okay. I just wanted to
get a
clarify
cross section, because that's what we want, is a cross section.
I just wanted to clarify that, because it's, as long as the professor
We
says
certainly
it's
don't want to
copacetic.
target one little group.
Right. The other thing, I just wanted to I threw out the information that the proposed budget exceeds the $10,000 grant. I didn't want anybody thinking it was double the price. It was like $1,500
Yes.
over.
Yeah.
Do you feel at this point that that's going to be the overage, is $1,500 That's
what
not
I'm
covered by
looking
the
to
grant?
spend. Well, it's going to be mainly for printing, and some of it is, as you saw in there, is going to be for, will come out of my overtime budget for input of the data.
So we'll be
Hopefully,
doing the
we might get some volunteers, I don't know. But that's what I'm hoping towards.
The more folks we have trained to encourage them to do it online,
Sure, it
it's,
all drops in,
it's,
sure.
it's more helpful that way.
Councilman Cirillo, you've had your
Yeah, I
hand
don't know if
up.
it's
Thank you
too
for your
late.
patience.
It's okay, I don't know if it's too late to your point with respect to the PR committee. The responsibility of copying, distributing, and collecting the data on paper surveys lies with the health department.
Yes.
So, and as it relates to making sure that we avoid the biases, that's part of the training process. The outreach component is part of that training that's going to be provided to the folks that are going to go out into the community to get the word out. So I don't know if that helps us in the discussion, but that's to your question.
Yeah, I just wanted to make sure that that the professor was going to be approving all of this, just to...
Yeah. I would say that within that framework, I'm sure the health department will make sure that there's contact with the team, because it's a team, to assure that any biases are taken out of the way.
Councilwoman?
And again, it goes back to the data. They could tell by the answers, especially with the written questions that may be submitted. They've been doing this, multiple times over, so they could tell just by the surveys themselves if they're biased or not. So they're pretty good at this. So and they'll guide us if they think something isn't right. They'll let us know immediately.
I think
please.
that the PR starts right now. We have Mr. Grossman right here from the TAP writing. So here is the call to action. So I know we are targeting a group, but we are really targeting the community. And I know he writes very comprehensive pieces that the information will already be out tomorrow morning. No pressure, but that's his MO. So, yes, but that's his MO. He gets the information out, and I think that's the start of our PR campaign, getting the information out as a call to action that the survey will be available.
I have a question. Thank you. Mr. Novin, will there be monitoring benchmarks that the survey is supposed to attain? And what I mean by that, are you hitting a certain number of residents and age levels, and because I don't see that laid out. Like, what are the benchmarks that of the population, or that's not completed yet?
Well, the Montclair State is going to be letting us know how the survey is going as far as the numbers coming in. So they will have that information from the online survey. We'll have the information as to how it's coming in from the printed survey. And they're going to let us know as we're moving forward how it's going. If it's too sluggish, are the numbers good coming in? Is that what you're speaking of?
Right. That's what.
Yes.
But I'm also, are they hitting the right numbers of the segments of the demographics of the population?
They'll compare it to our demographics. So they'll have our township demographics. They'll compare. They'll see what they feel is low sampling, as they call it, and say, okay, you may want to hit say maybe we're not getting a lot of homeowners participating, and they'll let us know that as the survey rolls along. And then we have to say, okay, let's put our think caps on, and we have to make that outreach to those homeowners. What do we need to do? And it's constant tweaking. It's other questions may come up during the process, but and different ideas. But it's the communication. They will be every other week with these conferences. And for example, this morning I was on the phone with them for an hour. So, and that was with the Dr. Keese as well, who she gives you more than the per se one day. The one day that she has in the contract is to oversee, and this is an important piece also, she makes sure, and that's part of her role, is to look at the project manager, making sure they're on task, making sure that the samplings are coming back to what our needs are. So there's constant review on her part, and that's why they're there over the summer, which again benefits us because we have a lot of seniors here during the summer months. We also have, in September, the town picnic, where we have a good amount of folks attend. So any opportunity that's out there to reach out to our public, we're going to take advantage of.
Okay. Thank you, Council President. One last question I have is, how old is the data that you're basing your key performance indicators on that you're going to use for your matrix? How old is the data?
The demographic data?
Yeah.
I didn't hear this.
Our demographic data, what year is that based on? 2010?
Yeah, or 11. We had some for 11 in here. I'll check to see exactly what year it's going to be based on.
I couldn't hear. I'm sorry.
2011.
2011?
10? Are you saying 10? Okay, then 2010.
Obviously, our demographics.
Well, that was the last census.
That was
so
last census. But again, we know our population, so if we see certain aspects of our population, low numbers, we're just going to go do the outreach. I mean, enough folks will be involved in the survey that we'll know if the numbers are not meeting what they should be.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you, Council President.
Anything else? Madam Clerk?
Is there a motion to adopt Resolution 142-17?
So moved.
Second.
Councilwoman Castellino?
Yes.
Councilman Cirillo?
Yes.
Councilman Guarino?
Yes.
Councilwoman McCartney?
Yes.
Council President Krokoviac?
Yes.
Okay.
Motion passed. Resolution is approved.
Thank you.
Well done.
Thank you.
Well done.
I just wanted to say one other thing while I'm up here. I didn't have time to put the flyer together yet, but our senior busing is available to take senior members that belong to the pool Monday through Friday when the pool is open. I guess it starts maybe next week. It opens, I think, full-time beginning at 12 o'clock. So they just need to call senior transportation for a ride. I'll be putting some flyers around, and we'll put it online as soon as I can have the time to get it together. Put it out there.
And that's town-wide. It's not just at as the seniors.
No, anybody who calls. Anybody, you have to be a member of the pool, and you have to be a senior citizen, and just call up our transportation, 973-325-4134, and Greg will help them.
Great. I was just going to say, I thought Mr. Pringle came last summer and asked for the 5 days a week, but we didn't have enough demand, I guess, just from Rent a House.
We didn't have enough demand from anyone. So we're going to do it, what we're going to do, what we're doing this year is we're going to take the calls, and anybody who wants to come, we're going to do it 5 days a week. And the reason we don't want to do a steady time is because some people want to come at 10, some people want to come at 11, so then if you do it at one steady time, then you eliminate other people. So you call in, we'll pick you up 5 days a week, and we'll take you back.
Okay.
During, the pool doesn't open till 12, I don't think, and, it's during our hours of operation, so it's probably up until like 3 or 3:30.
Right.
Would be the return time. If you don't have to come back with us if you don't want, but we'll take you.
Right.
Okay.
Also, I'm putting a sign-up sheet on the counter here if anybody wants to put their name and their phone number for me to contact them regarding the survey. I'm going to put it up here.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for your time. You've been putting a lot of time and effort the department has, and we really appreciate it.
Yeah.
There were two other proposed resolutions that were pulled. Resolution 134-17, which is a change order. I was going to say, Mr. Lepore, who's our town engineer, he can come up and talk about this. But my feeling that I've expressed, I've been here, 7 years, is on the change orders, we've already done the work, and we're simply coming here to say that we've created an obligation to pay a vendor, it sort of takes the ball out of our hands. We're supposed to be, reviewing the spending beforehand. So I just don't want to approve something that I think is not the way to do it. So that's why I pulled these two resolutions. But Mr. Lepore, if you'd like to speak on these projects.
Well, first of all, the first resolution pertains to our current street resurfacing program, and that's number 134-17. This in the process of making improvements on Rosemont Terrace, Rosemont Drive, and Rosemont Court, we found that there was a pipe that was located behind a portion of the curb on Rosemont Terrace. Didn't have any indication by any mapping in my department or any records that this drainage pipe was there. We needed to replace it. We wanted to make sure it got replaced in the prosecution of the work or the performance of the work. Otherwise, it would have delayed the project. As a result, the road was paved last week. Otherwise, we'd still be sitting here now. And I looked at this as a field change to address a matter that we encountered, not necessarily an expansion of the work to be done under this contract, but simply one to address a condition that needed to be rectified. If we didn't rectify it, if we ignored it, we'd be getting eventually complaints about people having water maybe backing up into their yard or ice on the street. So that was the purpose of this pipe. It was located behind a curb, couldn't work around it. It was right in the way of the pathway of the new curb.
And I understand everything that you said. My issue is, I'm probably not telling you anything you don't already know, but my issue is that when you reach that situation, it seems to me it would be very easy for you or Mr. Sayers to send an email to the council and to say that we need to make this change order before you actually do the work. And that's all.
I can do that. This occurred right around the time of the last council meeting. If it occurred maybe a few days before, we would have been discussing this at the last council meeting. But I can certainly do that on any future council meetings, or for any future changes like this. And again, where there's, I know there was a change order number 1 for this contract that I came before you last year, and before that work was done, it involved expanding the paving to a section of Old Pleasant Valley Way while we were doing Dawes Avenue next to it. So to me, that was certainly a bit, similar work, but beyond the original scope of the contract. This, while not necessarily being in the contract, was a condition that needed to be addressed at the time it was done. So I can do that very, very easily.
Yeah, I totally agree with you, necessary, and you've done, really excellent job over the years, in my opinion, on finding these and addressing them in the most efficient way possible. I'm just saying, if we as a council are supposed to be approving expenditures, we should know about them ahead of time so that we can approve them, as opposed to just, we've already created the obligation, we don't have a choice. So that's all.
The next one is involved work that was done at Colgate Field. Similar situation, field conditions encountered. It involved one replacing a catch basin that was not indicated on the plan because it wasn't known to be there. It involved replacing another catch basin that was so deteriorated it wasn't going to survive through the rest of the construction. There were some pipes underneath the pathway that were found once the pathway was excavated to be deteriorated. They were replaced. In another case where we were putting in an ADA compliant ramp on a section of the pathway, a pipe was discovered there. This ramp, the requirement of the ramp required the pathway to be lowered, and we found this pipe was in the way, so that was the work that was adjusted, all those to correct field conditions, not changing the amount of the work or the scope of the work at Colgate Field.
So thank you. Any other questions?
No. I have one for Ms. Lepore, but it's not on these two, it's on the another agenda item.
Okay. Why don't we dispose of these two pending pieces of legislation, then we can go back, Councilwoman, to the questions and comments
Sure.
on other. Okay. The first change order we talked about was for $49,900, and the second was for $8,368. Unless we have any more discussion, we can just move to a vote.
Okay, is there a motion to adopt 134-17?
So moved.
Second.
Councilwoman Castellino?
Yes.
Councilman Cirillo?
Yes.
Councilman Guarino?
Yes.
Councilwoman McCartney?
Yes.
Council President Kukoviac?
No. The resolution passes 4-1, and the motion passes 4-1, and the resolution carries.
Is there a motion to adopt Resolution 135-17?
So moved.
Second.
Councilwoman Castellino?
Yes.
Councilman Cirillo?
Yes.
Councilman Guarino?
Yes.
Councilwoman McCartney?
Yes.
Council President Kukoviac?
No. The motion carries 4-1, and the resolution is approved.
Okay.
Now we wanted to go to the rest of the legislation that we approved on the consent agenda, but we sort of delayed any sort of comment or questions. With Mr. Lepore there, Councilwoman, maybe you want to just
Sure.
talk with him so he can go home.
Thank you. I would be remiss, Mr. Lepore, if I just didn't share with you, a few of the residents from Rosemont have been contacting me, and they're thrilled to death that you know, I know it's been a long time waiting for them, and so thank you for, getting that done for them. They're thrilled to have a smooth sailing on the Rosemonts now, so they appreciate.
Unfortunately, many of the residents had to put up with a
Yeah.
bit of an inconvenience. There's only one way in and one way out of that neighborhood, so on the day that it was paved, everybody had to be out of the neighborhood, or they were stuck at home.
And they were good. They did not mind. They were just thrilled to death.
We're okay with that. It took long enough.
They were all lined up on Pleasant Valley Way, and I'm sure Councilwoman McCartney saw them from her.
Have a big parking lot.
But in any case, on Resolution 138-17, in regards to licensing at 350 Pleasant Valley Way for the 20 parking spaces, which will be used for the Jitney service for Route 6. Just again, have you formulated a plan? Will there be parking passes? What is the
Two
proposed
things.
plan?
We're going to, one, with signage at both this lot, at the loft section of the Wilshire Grand and at B'nai Shalom, there'll be signs designating where these spaces are and limiting them to just certain areas of the parking lot that are described in each agreement. And then everybody will, you'll need a pass or a placard to park there.
Okay.
Haven't worked out quite some of the details. Some of the things been thinking about is anybody who applies for one is going to have to show evidence that they
Yes.
have a monthly commutation ticket.
Okay.
Want to give these, there should be some sort of expiration on these.
Yes.
Because we don't want to give out these permits and then not have them used all the time because the spaces are limited. So those are some of the thoughts that have been given to that.
And naturally, my concerns are, residency, proving your residency.
Yes.
So, this service should only be for West Orange residents and no other, so. All right, thank you, Council
Certainly.
President.
If I could just, did you want to follow up on that?
Yeah, on that
Please,
point.
go ahead.
Yeah, on that point.
Please, go ahead.
Can you update us again on the timeline?
Well, it's all dependent on our buses arriving. This is
End of the summer?
This bus was redesigned for 2017 because the chassis was different. It's one, we went to bigger buses. Bigger buses went on a larger chassis. The larger chassis for 2017, as we specified in our bid documents, which were last fall, we specified a 2017 was slightly different chassis. So some slight different changes to the bus design, the bus manufacturing, and the bus testing, and particularly with an emphasis on the testing, because there's a test center that Penn State operates that really certifies the safety of these buses, and that's where this is right now, going through its testing. So the original plan was summer. That seems to be sliding past that. On the other hand, we have a nightmare of a commute that some people may be facing with service to Hoboken. That's going to start on July 10th. We do have information on our website for those who do use our shuttle or just commute to New York. about the changes in New Jersey Transit service that affect the Midtown Direct service. Essentially, they're eliminating the Midtown Direct service on weekdays except for a few trains prior to 7 a.m., which the mayor has indicated we're going to see how we can accommodate riders for at least one of those trains, but that would be an expansion of our service for them.
Please continue.
Just getting back, it looks as if that date is being pushed back further for our route 6.
Yeah, it's beyond our control, Mr. Lepore. Thank you again for your diligence. I just have a follow-up question. You opened up a can of worms with respect to the direct service. Question is, do you know if the Montclair-Boonton line goes direct into New York City?
Yes, they do.
So are we
and they will
considering?
continue to go directly.
Okay, so are we considering rerouting the shuttles?
I haven't thought about making that big a change to the service because there's limited capacity on that line as there is on any of the lines.
It's smaller trains.
I'm not sure how easily, not that we're, a breaker of, with the ridership we have of about 275 a day, but if we do that, others do that, they're not going to be happy going to Montclair because they're not going to be getting a seat. So I think New Jersey Transit is they did come out with their schedule, I think either Friday or sometime over the weekend. It almost seems as if there's a direct replacement for trains going into Hoboken that used to go into New York. So the service will be there. It's just going to be to Hoboken, and it's going to be a longer commute for that.
Right. If I may say, Mr. Lepore, the schedule shows that the times haven't changed. The 7:22 and 7:34 from South Orange still comes at those times, but it goes to Hoboken.
Right.
So they haven't changed.
It's probably between walking and the headway and the ride, it's probably 20 minutes to get to Midtown from Hoboken.
It's a good time for folks to take their vacation over the summer.
Thank you, Madam President. I just want to summarize, Mr. Lepore, and who knows, perhaps there's a contingency plan in New Jersey Transit where they're going to put double-decker cars or additional cars on that line to satisfy whatever demand there is as a result of the other line. I don't know. Just something to keep an eye on because they are taking a lot of heat, a lot of pressure from the commuter population for concentrating on this line as opposed to other lines throughout. So I guess my point is just let's keep an eye on that. Perhaps there's a change of thought. And we can reroute our commuter population, at least provide an option.
I'll let you know when I take the train.
There's always the path.
New Jersey Transit doesn't control the tracks into and out of Penn Station. They don't control Penn Station. I'm not so sure that just by fact that there are tracks are being worked on, which eliminates how many trains New Jersey Transit could put into New York, and thereby eliminating trains into New York means that's going to be an easy commute. I do not expect it'll be easy in and easy out of Penn Station during this work.
Thank you, Council President.
Thank you. Mr. Lepore, while you're here, and we're talking about the jitney, the legislation that we approved earlier, I just wanted to ask an additional question, or perhaps a series of questions. The legislation is to approve, I believe it's 20 parking spaces at the Wilshire Grand parking lot. And they're not charging us any fee for the use of that, but similar to what we agreed to at B'nai Shalom, we're going to, oh, you're shaking your head, so I won't even have to ask my question? No. Man, we are really working well tonight. You're going to get home early. What's my question and how are you answering?
Obligation to snow and salt and clear sidewalks is the obligation of the licensor, which is the Wilshire Grand.
That's what it says?
Yeah.
So that's different from B'nai Shalom.
Yes,
at B'nai Shalom, we're plowing, salting, and we're taking care of the lights.
I don't think I'll have to go back and read B'nai Shalom. I don't remember that.
Okay. So it's not identical to that. I'm sorry. I thought I read the right resolution. I must have.
It's all right. You were wrong.
I must have read. So it's not going to cost us another $6,000 or $7,000.
No, it won't.
Oh, okay. Great, thank you.
Wilshire Graham was very accommodating in meetings.
They are.
Thank you, Lynn.
Ms. Lepore, just one more question. Would you be the... I'm sorry. Would you be the person to talk to about all of the equipment, all of the vehicle
Well,
purchases
some
that were...
of them, yeah.
Okay. Because I think this is a great opportunity to talk, when people say, where the heck is my tax money going? I think it's informative to tell them all of the things we're buying just in terms of vehicles just on one day. We're buying a street sweeper, and we're also buying a fire apparatus.
Right.
Are you the person to talk to
Well,
about?
I know Deputy Chief Wanamacher was here
He was.
earlier.
I could talk a
so-
little bit about the fire equipment as well.
Okay. How about, can you talk about the police vehicles, or?
The police vehicles, I think, are one, we're really just keeping our fleet updated. We didn't purchase any police vehicles last year.
No.
So we skipped a year. So now, that's why you start to, and before that, we weren't necessarily skipping a year, but we were stretching out the length of time between purchases to be somewhere sometimes 15 to 18 months between purchases. So with that stretching before of a year plus and then skipping last year, I think there are 11 police vehicles for the police in this,
Yes.
that was in the capital budget
Yes.
and is being a contract awarded to purchase them tonight.
So we're getting a pumper truck for the fire department. That's a little over $460,000. We're getting the street sweeper, which is the second street sweeper.
Correct.
For almost $260,000. Any update on the slightly used street sweeper that?
It arrived today.
Oh.
It arrived today.
Arrived today.
Yeah.
I think that would be a great picture on the homepage of the town website.
I think more people would like to see it on the street rather than on the home website. Just from the people who call
We'll
my
kill two
office.
birds with one stone and put a picture of it actually sweeping a street.
We'll put a GoPro on top of it.
There's a lot of people. There are a lot of
It
people.
arrived today, just so you know, a little joke within our department, or a funny thing within our department, this sweeper was subject to a recall after we purchased it. There was some of the electronics needed to be updated in the dashboard. And our dealer said it was shipped back to FL. FL? Well, FL's Florida. No, FL wasn't Florida, it was Freightliner. So here we thought it was going on a nice long vacation before we even had it. But,
Okay, thank you.
Never dull around here.
Mr. Gross, do you want to talk about all of the other purchases that we're making?
Whatever you would like to know.
Yeah, I just think people should know where my taxes are going. They're buying police cars and...
Yeah, we were purchasing 10 police cars, a combination of capital and forfeiture funds, as well as the public works vehicles that Lenny has, there's some pickup trucks, et cetera, and the sweepers. It's, this is subsequent to the capital bond ordinance that was adopted not too long ago, more than 20 days ago. And we were been fortunate enough, and in some years we have not been able to respond as quickly as it gets adopted. This year we're well prepared and we're able to move forward and get this equipment in as quickly as possible. A lot of it we have to wait for. The fire truck take a little over a year for us to get that. Some of the other vehicles as well, even though we've ordered them now, will take some time before people actually will see them on the road.
It's probably going to be a year for the pumper?
It'll be at least a year.
At least a year.
Okay.
It should be noted that the pumper we're replacing is a 1984 truck.
That's older than the chief.
It was actually here before the chief was born.
That's factually not true, but it is funny. It is very funny.
He did
but
like
it's not
that
true.
line, though. He liked that
He
line.
didn't like that.
It
Sure he
made him
did. He's my age.
It made him a lot younger.
Okay. And I just had a question about resolution, it's agenda item E, resolution 128-17, resolution authorizing the West Orange Police Chief to execute a certification of compliance on behalf of the township for submission of a grant for additional hiring or rehiring of police officers. I just wanted to get a better feel for why we're doing this and what's the strategy, what we might be doing if we get that grant. I know we had one that involved the fire several years ago, and we wound up keeping, I guess it was 8 or 10 of the firemen. And I'm just curious as to whether this is something that's reflecting a similar strategy that we're going to be adding to the police department.
It's actually, it's a COPS grant, that we get this grant every year.
Oh, okay.
And it doesn't have to be, I'm pretty sure it doesn't have to be used just for personnel. So we apply for the grant every year. And it's if in fact we do get the grant, we're going to decide how we're going to use it. But we're going to utilize it in any way possible.
What would be the size? Is it more than, is it in 6 figures?
I'm not sure exactly what it was.
Okay.
I can look at it.
And to the extent it might be utilized for manpower, we're actually down now, right now, so it's a good opportunity.
Yeah.
To the extent that we're setting the low water mark, and perhaps we could fill back in with a grant in the future. So.
I saw it can't be used for school resource officers, though.
Correct.
No.
Yeah.
According to this, the maximum you can get is $137,000. And like Mr. Gross said, we do have some open positions, so if we do get the grant, we'll probably backfill those open positions with the money.
Yeah, I thought the reason we had the openings because there's a rather lengthy process to replace.
It's a lag in between, yeah. But if we get the money, we can then use it before they go into police academy to fund them.
Okay, thank you. Any other questions or comments on the consent agenda that we delayed?
Just a quick question.
Councilwoman.
Oh, me?
Yes.
Okay,
I'm sorry, Councilman Castellino.
Just on 14117, the North Bergen Police Department, the North Bergen Board of Education with the actor-shooter simulation, is that Sergeant John Morella
Yes.
facilitating that?
Yep.
I think another shout out to him because he always does a fine job with and on the actor-shooter simulations. So thank you to him. That's it.
Madam Clerk, I think we're ready for ordinances.
Okay. Ordinances on second and final reading, 2510-17, an ordinance amending Chapter 9 to include Section 3 regarding mandatory direct deposit. Is there a motion to introduce on second and final reading?
So moved.
Second.
Councilwoman Castellino?
Yes.
Councilman Cirillo?
Yes.
Councilman Guarino?
Yes.
Councilwoman McCartney?
Yes.
Council President Krokoviac?
Yes. At this time, under state law, we have a public hearing on all ordinances on second reading. We'd like to do that at this time. If there's anyone who'd like to comment on this ordinance, this proposed ordinance, please raise your hand and be recognized by the chair. Please raise your hand if you'd like to comment. Seeing no hands, I close the public hearing and open it up to our council.
I wanted to ask John, I did see the letter that went to employees about opting out, and I was just wondering what kind of response did you get for that?
Some surprise, some bewilderment, but mostly positive. We've probably about half of our employees who were not on direct deposit have already responded to be put on direct deposit.
That's good.
So I think it's going well.
Great. Good. Thank you. Mm-hmm.
It's a money saver.
Mm-hmm.
Any estimate as how much is going to save us?
It's hard to estimate it in terms of, number one, in terms of trees, the paper that we're going to save, and I think that's, I'll focus on that rather than the actual dollars that we're going to save on the paper stubs. I don't think they're that expensive, but there's a lot of paper in terms of that. So in terms of our green initiative, it's certainly a positive thing for us. I mean, the program in general probably, we think there's going to be significant savings overall in the way we're handling our human capital resources through the program. It's a small part of it, but I think it's an important part.
Anybody else? Madam Clerk?
Is there a motion to adopt ordinance 2510 on the second and final?
Second.
Okay. Councilwoman Castellino?
Yes.
Councilman Cirillo?
Yes.
Councilman Guarino?
Yes.
Councilwoman McCartney?
Yes.
Council President Krokoviac?
Yes, motion carries. Ordinance is approved, subject to whatever else, what other magic you have to do.
Ordinance 2512-17, an ordinance amending and supplementing Chapter 7 Traffic, subsection 7-20, stop intersection of the revised general ordinances of the Township of West Orange. Is there a motion to introduce on second and final reading?
So moved.
Second.
Councilwoman Castellino?
Yes.
Councilman Cirillo?
Yes.
Councilman Guarino?
Yes.
Councilwoman McCartney?
Yes.
Council President Krokoviac?
Yes. At this time, we're required to have a public meeting, public hearing on the proposed ordinance. If anyone would like to comment on the ordinance, please raise your hand and be recognized by the chair. Please raise your hand if you'd like to comment. Seeing no hands, I close the public comment. My colleagues, anyone like to speak about this? Madam Clerk?
Is there a motion to adopt 2512-17?
So moved.
Second.
Councilwoman Castellino?
Yes.
Councilman Cirillo? Councilman Guarino?
Yes.
Councilwoman McCartney?
Yes.
Council President Krokoviac?
Yes, motion carries. Ordinance is approved.
Ordinance 2513-17, an ordinance creating a reclassification and salary schedule of certain Township of West Orange employees, setting forth their titles, classification, and salary ranges, and adopting a salary guide, and establishing employee status as a Township employee under the guidelines of New Jersey Department of Personnel. Is there a motion to introduce?
So moved.
Second.
Okay, let me finish.
Huh?
Let's finish what I'm saying. Councilwoman Castellino?
Yes.
Councilman Cirillo?
Yes.
Councilman Guarino?
Yes.
Councilwoman McCartney?
Yes.
Council President Krokoviac?
Yes, motion carries.
Well, no, not yet. We have to do the public hearing.
Yes, the
That's the
public.
first one. That was introduced on second and final.
But that
Yeah.
motion,
Oh, well, yeah, I'm sorry. Yes, okay, yes, yes, sorry.
let's get the coffee. Get the coffee.
Yeah. Yeah.
At this time, we will have a public hearing on proposed ordinance 2513-17. Is there anyone in the audience who would like to comment? Please raise your hand and be recognized by the chair. If you'd like to comment, please raise your hand. Seeing no hands, I close the public hearing. Madam Clerk?
Is there a motion to adopt?
Oops, excuse me, I apologize.
No.
Is there anybody who wants to talk about this?
Quick question.
Councilman.
Just a quick question for Mr. Gross. Item 2513-17 and 2515-17, they kind of sound alike. What's the difference?
There's just,
Housekeeping.
there's a couple of differences. The second one, which is an introduction for this evening, is subsequent to the adoption of the budget. So there were approvals that were within the budget that reflect a change in the salary ordinance that was not effective when we introduced this other one. So it's just a matter of
I
time.
see. Timing. Great. Thank you, Council President.
Good question.
Anybody else? Madam Clerk?
Is there a motion to adopt 2513-17?
So moved.
Second.
Councilwoman Castellino?
Yes.
Councilman Cirillo?
Yes.
Councilman Guarino?
Yes.
Councilwoman McCartney?
Yes.
Council President Krokoviac?
Yes, motion carries. Ordinance is approved. Madam Clerk?
Ordinances on first reading, 2514-17, an ordinance amending and supplementing Chapter 7 Traffic, subsection 7-26.1, bus stops, and subsection 7-30, mid-block crosswalks of the revised general ordinances of the Township of West Orange. Is there a motion to introduce on first reading?
So moved.
Second.
Councilwoman Castellino?
Yes.
Councilman Cirillo?
Yes.
Councilman Guarino?
Yes.
Councilwoman McCartney?
Yes.
Council President Krokoviac?
Yes, motion carried. Ordinance is introduced on first reading. Would anyone like to comment, or would like to have Mr. Lepore? I think this is a significant enough to talk about on first. Yes, please.
Right. And Mr. Lepore, could you come up too, please? Thank you. Thank you. Thank you, Council President. This is very, very important, first of all, for pedestrian safety and also for the safety of the school children at Edison Middle School. And Mr. Lepore can go into the details, but Councilwoman McCartney and myself were working with the Livingston Y through their WOW program and through their Safe Streets to School program and getting them to motivate us to do it. And with Mr. Lepore's input and his guidance and working, with the specifics, this resolution will enable us to put in a mid-block safe crossing zone for the students and for residents with flashing lights, detailed crosswalk markers, and it would make it a more safer area where the crossing would be, push-button control. And Mr. Lepore can go into more of the details, but I think, like the council president said, this is another significant part of making our streets safe for our residents, especially our children. So thank you. Mr. Lepore, you want to give us the details?
This ordinance is, as Councilman Guarino said, is going to make a safer crossing, one that's already used and is not delineated. And that crossing starts at the Edison exit driveway, Edison Central 6 exit driveway onto Main Street, opposite the Dunkin' Donuts and the Baskin Robbins. And it's not just school children that cross there, there's staff from the school that cross there. There are other members of the community who use that because of the attraction of the donuts and the ice cream. So the purpose of this is while you can always put a crosswalk at an intersection, and this is very close to Park Terrace. If we were to place it at Park Terrace, it wouldn't really line up very well with the exit driveway and the sidewalk on the outer side of that driveway. So what we're going to do with this is just have the crosswalk shifted a little bit to the north so that they line up. So it's almost at Park Terrace where it's already permitted, although it's not delineated, and moving it just a little closer to the Dunkin' Donuts and the Baskin Robbins to be opposite the sidewalk at the school.
Thank you.
Do you want to, I'm sorry, Councilwoman Castellino.
I'm just trying to picture it. So is it going to be at the end of the driveway at William Street, right across the street to Dunkin' Donuts?
Yes.
Okay, so in driving by every morning, this has been a problem for years. There are people that park, and even I hate to say it, our school buses even occasionally park there, run into Dunkin' Donuts, right in front of Dunkin' Donuts. So my concern is, and I say hallelujah because this is a long time coming. I remember the first year at Edison when it opened up, and Principal Fitzgerald, just he was beside himself with the Dunkin' Donuts opening up and his kids running across the street because they were so excited to go to Dunkin' Donuts. And even for Reverend Guyton over at Bethany Church, that's always been an issue, especially on Friday nights. The kids are out playing basketball and they run across the street because everybody loves Dunkin' Donuts. But there is a significant problem that I think we're going to need to have to address with that parking, because especially if someone parks there, it's going to block the view as well. And so how are you going to address that issue?
One, if that is a concern, we can address it in a subsequent ordinance.
Okay.
Yes. I didn't want to try to decide right just now where that no parking or no stopping or standing limit had to be. Somewhat sensitive to the Dunkin' Donuts, that even though they have off-street parking, they do rely on some of that parking in front of their store. There's also concern even on the Edison side that we may have to prohibit some parking just to make sure that our signs are visible. So those adjustments will be made. I wanted to, at least start this process rolling so that it does come up on second reading later this month. It still needs to go to the county. One other portion of this ordinance is there is a bus stop, a New Jersey Transit bus stop there. We're going to eliminate that bus stop because we don't want the buses stopping in the crosswalk, not that they're there for long. There is a bus stop immediately before this at Park Drive North and down at McKinley Avenue, so it's not as if people have to walk a half a mile. They really maybe just have to walk a few hundred feet in one direction or maybe a couple hundred yards in another direction. So there's two parts of that, but we'll come back and revisit the parking and the stopping and standing.
On the second reading, we'll do?
I'll do it subsequent to that if I see how much I need to.
That'll make me feel more comfortable.
Okay.
Thank you, Mr. Paul.
Thank you.
Anybody else?
No.
I was just going to thank Lenny for that sentence that he just said, because when you first read it, it says they were eliminating a bus stop. Until you read the whole paragraph, that it's not really being eliminated, it's just being moved to make it safer. So I think that was a respectful, safety first.
Madam Clerk?
Ordinance 2515-17, an ordinance creating a reclassification and salary schedule of certain Township of West Orange employees, setting forth their titles, classification, and salary ranges, and adopting a salary guide, and establishing employee status as a Township employee under the guidelines of New Jersey Department of Personnel. Is there a motion to introduce on first reading?
So moved.
Second.
Okay. Councilwoman Castellino?
Yes.
Councilman Cirillo?
Yes.
Councilman Guarino?
Yes.
Councilwoman McCartney?
Yes.
Council President Kukoviac?
Yes. Mr. Gross, do you want to further inform us?
Yeah, nothing more than that. This is to implement the 2017 budget authorizations. Just to get to your point of similarity, what we've taken to do is that we re-adopt our ordinances every time there's a change, and that way we have one set of data, as opposed to traditionally we may ended up with 14 or 15 different salary ordinances we had to deal with on a day-in, day-out basis. So that's why this one, when you look at it, it's lengthy and there's a small change. We try to identify the change in the history and see which in the right direction.
Very good.
So I think we've completed our meeting. Is there anything else? We have an executive session on an ABC matter, and then we have an ABC matter, but that's not anything.
I have a question for pending matters.
Certain. Oh, I'm sorry. We should have talked about that. Yes, please. Councilwoman Castellino.
It's for Mr. Sayers. Just two quick questions with pending matters on updates. Our zoning department, have we hired somebody yet? I know they've been short-staffed in there.
Hired someone where? What position?
Don't we, to replace, when we talked in March?
Property maintenance? You're talking about property maintenance?
I'm sorry, property maintenance, sorry.
We are in the process of doing that. I'm trying to work it out with hiring some people. That's the best I can tell you. There's some internal things we're looking to do.
Okay, yeah,
And
yeah.
then hopefully if we do the internal things, we're going to get somebody from the outside to backfill one of the positions, and I'm still trying to put it all together.
Yeah, I know they've been crazy in there.
Yes.
Yeah, they're working diligently. And then my next question is, and I should have asked it earlier and held Mr. Lepora, but the fire stations. I know we talked about equipment. Where are we at with our facility plan for the fire stations?
I thought they had it. Do you know anything?
I know they-
about that? Because I thought they had some information.
There's been 2 meetings. We're waiting for some information to come back from those. They wanted to have some talk internally amongst themselves. Now that the bond ordinance has been adopted, I expect something back shortly.
Okay.
And now that needs
So I guess you'll have a priority list of what you're going to
Priority, that's
tackle?
what it's all about, prioritizing what we have
Absolutely.
the money to fix.
And you just let us know when
Yeah, I
that
mean,
formulates?
I think we spoke about this before.
Yeah.
The overall is probably going to be, we're going to focus on initially is the outside shell, making sure
The roofs, yeah.
as much as we can do with the money that we have to secure the buildings from any further damage. But, they're going to go back and look and see what we can get done with the money that we have. So
Okay.
that's where that is.
All right, that's all. Thank you. Thank you, Council President.
I will entertain a motion to adjourn.
So
moved.
Second?
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed?
Aye.
Aye.
The motion is approved.
Motion carries. Good night, West Orange. Our next council meeting is Tuesday, June 27th. Thank you, Councilwoman. We'll see you then. Good night.
Good night.